All right, thanks, guys. Welcome to the close. 2 hours to go in the trading session. It's 2 o'clock. We are dealing with, for the fourth day in a row, an early rally in the market met by selling. Here we go, back to the downside again. 0.37 for the S&P 500, 0.25% there for the Dow. The NASDAQ 0.6 off of the highs, all three cases. TSX basically flat here in Toronto. Brazil still positive, but yeah. A similar story, once again, as we've seen over the past couple of days. Yesterday, an exception, obviously, with the Fed, but same result. Anyways, once again, being led by the tech stocks. Back to the downside here. Semiconductors, specifically, TER off earnings there, 28%. LRCX reported as well, 7.5%. Intel, all three coming off earnings. AMD being dragged down with them, 6.6%. What a day it's been for some of the semiconductors. STX, Seagate, nice day back to the upside off earnings, 8.7% now as well, almost 10%. Everything else you can see a lot of red coming back in. Industrials are lower. Consumer discretionary stocks are lower, led by the travel names: Caesars, Wynn, Hilton, NCLH, RCL, CCL, all 4+% to the downside. Pretty ugly day as well for some of the healthcare names, specifically in the healthcare equipment group. All of these have reversed from early strength. Moderna was positive at 1.5% to the downside. There's Netflix still holding on to that Bill Ackman rally, 7.3%. We'll talk about Netflix coming up here. These three down here I wanted to point out just real quick. Energy stocks, consumer staple, and utilities basically flat on the day. Materials as well, coming back to basically flat on the day. Quick look at the NASDAQ here. It is pretty red as well, if my page will load. Not going to, maybe, but trust me when I say it is a pretty red day overall, right across the board. Again, 3 or 4 days now, we've seen that early strength met with heavy selling into the afternoon. So 2 hours to go. What remains to be seen? We'll figure that out. We'll start things off, as we do every afternoon, with a bit of a look back at what was on deck to trade at the open this morning. If you joined us at 8:30, we went through a whole bunch of potential opportunities, one of which Neil's going to review, kicking things off here with Trade Review.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk Tesla today, and I could have talked a little bit about Lucid, and Lucid was a great short, and Sean had Rivian, and that was a great short as well. But let's be honest, Tesla had earnings, they blew out their numbers, but we're going to the downside. And look, it's a volatile name, it's a high valuation, and that's one of those things you have to pay attention to. So because I was looking at other EV names to the short side today, I wasn't going to be in the Tesla short, and I think that's almost inexcusable as a momentum trader who doesn't mind going the other direction. However, if you're going to look for areas of support, if you're ever going to be counter trend, you've got to make sure you can define where your routes are going to be and what levels you want to play off of. So first things first, when we sat down, Tesla was doing nothing in the pre-market. But you did have that capitulation bottom on Monday at 850. So it's about the only thing you had to go off of. You got that 850 level at the top. And I can come back to why 950 should have been significant. When you had the blowout in the afternoon and the Powell top, that 985, there was a 950 before that Fed day. So when that came into play today, that should have been a bit of a signal. However, you come back, pre-market levels up at that high, that 950 I talked about, not shorting off of that because, again, looking over at Lucid and other more important names that we thought would be better shorts. Just a monstrous drop. Sometimes momentum matters. Now, at least we were not looking for that long until we had either 850 or the secondary area here, 880 to 885, where there had been some previous support. That allows us to be very, very patient. And here's the key thing. Look at the velocity of the movement to the downside. Anytime you get this, and I've said it probably a million times in the morning show, when you get that initial bounce off of a key price area and it gets close to that target, even if it doesn't get to your price. In this case, I'm waiting 880 to 885. When it bounces just shy of that, that little relief pull back to VWAP, the first time is the best trade. And I know that deep down. I know the first time is the best trade, but it did not quite get to my price. I do try it the second time through. It then slams right through my stop, and I take the stop out. The only thing I think that we did well is that we do not try to fight this and get back in. It bounces, it comes back in the money. I didn't try to take it back in that 885 range. I didn't try to go long again in front of 880. I just said, hey, look, it bounced once, I missed it, it bounced. I tried to take it twice, it did not work. And then from that point on, you got to be able to sit it out and be patient. The level was $850. It comes down here to about 8. It gets so close to that 855 area, and it's like, no, it's not quite there. That's not the trade I'm looking for. It bounces around, consolidation, and it isn't until, I can't make this up, right? But it isn't until just before we came back on air for the final 2 hours of the day for everybody that we hit that almost 825 mark. We go to 852, I should say. I get long just in front of it by 250. I go just over 1-to-1 for the scalp in case we continue the barcode to the downside. And now I'm looking to get a bit of a retrace on Tesla. So sometimes it's about going over what you could do better. One of those things was identifying that 950 level and being willing to go short. Now, ultimately, Lucid was a good trade, but Tesla was maybe the bigger fish that could have been shorted as well. The other thing is, if you don't get the bounce the first time, sometimes it's okay to say, hey, I missed my shot. Now I have to wait for the second one and then only be in the trade at 850. Sometimes you've got to be willing to do that for risk management purposes. Maybe we'll make the money back on Tesla here on that last trade if we break through VWAP, but that doesn't mean it still wasn't a mistake to either not leverage down on that bounce trade or be a little bit more aggressive on the first bounce. We can always look to do better here, and as someone who likes to short things, missing out on that short obviously doesn't make me very happy, but that's why we do these, so we can learn and get better every single day.
We sat here in the pre-market this morning and kind of said, yeah, Tesla, one of those that was going to be, it needed to show its hand before you really wanted to sink your teeth into it today. So an interesting look. I want to continue the conversation on Tesla here in a second, but that's a watch list, guys. We send it out every single morning before we come on at 8:30 in the morning for free, if I didn't mention that already. Elon, just making an interesting comment there. To quote, Elon says it's, hold on, where was it? It's more important for Tesla to make a robot this year than it is for them to come out with new models. And I say this because in the earnings call, they mentioned that they're not going to have a Cybertruck this year, and they're not going to have a $25,000 model of whatever this year, both of which they said will, quote unquote, hopefully come in 2023. So looks like they're going to be focusing on a robot this year instead. Yeah, supply chain warnings were in that call as well. I mean, this whole group. I mean, we can talk about Tesla, but Rivian, Ride, Lucid, even Nikola, all pretty red today.
Yeah, they're all getting cranked here today pretty badly to the downside. I was looking at Microsoft. I wasn't here, but I would have loved, I mean, these 50-period breaks were just so great. I mean, they broke on the futures as well to the upside. We just took Microsoft long 301 break, out 301.50 and change, so 50 cents on that. We want to average into softy if we get back into this level. So that's what I'm doing here. If you see me in a Microsoft trade, but okay, let's talk more about what we want to talk about here, and that is Rivian, Lucid, everything like that. Good trade of the day, a couple shorts there, and a nice long what we have right now. But I mean, here was Rivian. It just absolutely collapsed today. In this environment, guys, we've talked about this over and over again on this show, on other shows. You don't want to have a company that isn't producing anything and is sitting on investor capital and really just spitting it away, especially when you get an interest rate rise environment where cash is not worthless anymore, right? And so when you come back to the downside here, we take out its all-time low. We're already well below IPO. I mean, the fact that Rivian, it's almost, and I've said this before about the underwriters, it's almost criminal to some extent that, they bring the stock out. And again, to their defense, I believe it was 76 or 78, something like that was the sort of the insider buy price there. But the IPO price that comes to market public, was right around, it closed red that day, wasn't it? I thought it was 106.50, but I don't know. It looks like today, if we use this candle, then it was 107. 70 or something, but I don't think that's right for Rivian. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
106.50 is right.
We're way below, yeah, 106.50 is right, so I don't know what's up with that candle, but all the way to the downside here, we're well below that. We're cut in half, and it just keeps on going to the downside. It doesn't even have 50 days here, so we just had the 50 period just starting to build right now. There's no 200 period, and it's just to the downside. Lucid, Rivian, all these names, even Ford gets cut a little bit the last couple days, so I don't know. I keep on wanting to short these names. You know, has it bounced back? Yeah, but we're still only at $55, down that 8% today. Obviously, a lot more dramatic than the market itself. I really don't think you can hold any of these names. If you do hold them, just hold them. That's kind of what I want to say is for an investment, no thank you. But if you're going to take a couple flyers on a couple trades, why not do this? I mean, I like NIO's been absolutely pumped as well to the downside. So there's a few different things you can look at. But for me, Rivian, Lucid, Fish. I mean, I like Fisker. Look at Fisker, guys. FSR in New York, what is that, $10 now? Something crazy. Yeah, $10. Like, I mean, how low are these names going to eventually go? I mean, I don't even have an answer for that. It's kind of rhetoric. Look at the last, from January 5th. Let's just even say from the start of the year. Who cares? Let's just use January 5th here because we have 2 up days there. Since January 5th, there's 2 green days in here that you're not even going to notice, and then another one on that rebound day that we already touched the low of 1040 and rebound to close at 12. Other than that, it's straight down from, like, this should be a year's return. Like, from $17 down to 10 in 3 weeks. Like, give me a break. They all look like this. If you want to pick one up, do your research and try to find one that is well below what you think its eventual value is going to be. But I like Fisker. They are producing, and you're right back down to this level again. So you want to take a shot on something, maybe it's Fisker. But honestly, guys, this is just too nasty.
Yeah, I mean, these are crazy, and we came and sat down. Like, the thing that stood out to me about Lucid, I know we had to talk Tesla because I think that was just a good learning experience for me. A couple of ways. I mean, the long for now is pretty good, but Lucid had this level. $33 is going to stand out like a sore thumb. You had a monster breakout back in November, and then dip support at that price, and you held that line in the sand for a couple of days. And when that broke today, like, the gap on the chart, it's just a huge gap. And when you see something like that in an already depressed market, on top of that, you have Tesla with huge growth. Like, Tesla's crushing everybody in terms of actual production, actual sales, actual profits, right? And when they're getting squeezed on the valuation side or not booming, then you know it's going to be a tough environment. And Lucid, as much as it's down and cut in half from its highs, we were just talking about this. Like, Lucid from its lows back in Sep of 2021, it's still actually a double up from those bottoms. So it's when you start to think, like, can these things go lower? They absolutely can, and that's why sometimes you have to be willing to go short at prices that are crazy. Like, the stock had dropped $1.50 before I went short the first time, and when I went short the second time, it already dropped $4. And then there's a name we didn't even mention today, and that I didn't notice this. We talk about NIO all the time, but where is it? XPEV. That's what I want to do. XPeng. From the New York. XPeng got absolutely crushed. Now, I don't know that there was a name that it was just so straight to the downside. It almost didn't matter which one of these EV names you took, but this one literally had no bid until it had already retraced like 8% initially right off of the open, and then just continues to slide down. So, it was almost as if it was waiting for the reaction on Tesla earnings for some of these to fall to the downside. Like, if Tesla couldn't get up, once it started falling right at the open, these just all fell off an absolute cliff. And the bottoms are not obvious at this point because they haven't really made support. Tesla's got 850 from Monday, and these ones have not much of anything.
Going to spend a little more time on Tesla coming up here. We'll give you an argument on the bull side. We'll give you an argument on the bear side on a higher time frame, kind of longer term perspective. We also have Miss Danielle Shea going to join us in, let's call it 40 minutes or so. And we'll get her take on what she took out of that report from last night and whether or not a Tesla robot would be on her shopping list. Overall, though, as I said, 3 or 4 days in a row here, we've seen early strength in the market met with selling in the afternoon. Yesterday, an exception, obviously, with the Fed. But here we go again, back to the downside. We're testing that low from post-Fed yesterday. We just bounced off that, as we said. But I mean, overall, the market at important levels here, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm just getting my order ready here to go because we are taking some Fisker. We just got a new position here into Fisker. And just so you guys know, I added to Salesforce today, and I just tweeted it out. So I added to some Salesforce, and I added to some Facebook today. Both names slightly up today, so we'll add a little bit to them and expect to get some good reports from these names. But yeah, look, I mean, we could talk about the NQs, the triple Qs, whatever. I mean, some of these names, and I'm going to include even Tesla in there, although I know today it's getting spanked. You know, some of them, they're not super bad. I mean, you know, we've retaken the 200 period here on Microsoft. Is there more downside? Possibly. But again, I think if you buy the best companies in this market, you should be okay. I mean, if you're looking for swing trades, maybe there's more downside. But look, the Fed came out yesterday and said exactly what everybody thought they would say. They talked about the interest rate hikes. They talked about their plan of action. You know, we know what's going to happen in March. We're expecting that quarter point. Maybe we get half, 50 point there, or 50 basis points. I don't know if that's going to be the truth or not. But I feel like a lot of this is maybe baked in now. And the Fed came out yesterday. They gave us what we wanted. We saw the market react yesterday. If you call up here the triple Qs, I was going to call up the Qs because they're easier to look at here from on a charting standpoint, in my opinion, anyways. Because our charts don't do the futures that well back down because we don't have the continuous contract. But it doesn't really matter. What I'm getting at here is you have a big move yesterday in the triple Qs right here. We've seen what that was. We had a nice short on at the end of the day. Everything was rocking. Fed comes out, says what they have to. We bottom out at 341. We're very close to that again here today. So I feel like if we were concerned about the Fed, and we still are, but you know, if we were more concerned about it, then we probably should be below yesterday's levels. So if the triple Qs gets below 340, then that's something where, okay, you know what, we're not holding those bottoms from yesterday, but this is yesterday's bottom. So, I mean, right here, look, I mean, it's yesterday's bottom is the same bottom as today. So if you're trading off technicals, like if we had the great Arun here today, then I'm sure this is a level that he'd be looking at. I mean, it's yesterday's bottom, and it didn't really get violated at all. The wick actually goes down to the same wicks as here today. So I don't know. Until we break through this level, do you need to be panicking? Probably not. But at the same time, you know, it's not a happy moment. We were up today almost 1.5%. Now we're down 0.5%. So to say that this market is done going down, I would say no. But I'm nibbling in for the longer term portfolio here on some of these levels. I like it. The banks are holding up okay. Oh, I forgot to tweet this out too. I bought the oil ETF. So I bought the equivalent of XLE, but I bought it in Canadian funds. So I'm basically in XLE here now. Let's call it what that is. It's ZEO in Canada. But here's the XLE. I don't mind energy now. It's only up 0.2% today. It has pulled back just, well, I mean, it depends where you got it, but it's pulled back a little bit here from a high of, 66, 67. So if you want to get some energy names, I think it's not a bad opportunity to do that to sort of hedge your portfolio. But I think that's what we've been talking about, Neil, a little bit hedging with different companies. And
yeah, that's what you got to do. I mean, ultimately, like this, we've known the environment that was coming. Like nothing that happened yesterday was a surprise, except for maybe the fact that, we thought we'd get a little bit more clarification on some timelines, and we didn't really get anything from Jerome, but everything else wasn't much of a surprise. And if you look at, I think the sign for what we're in today and why we're looking at maybe a lot of shorts this morning was you had that top when Powell, I mean, both after the reversal, when the announcement came, and then the second the Q&A started. And then once you held that, like all that exuberance that we had, you held those highs. And I'm talking about the SPYs here. You held those highs. And I could pull up a chart of Tesla or a lot of these names that tried to get back to those, I guess, post-Fed highs this morning early on and just absolutely kaputs. And then you had a wealth of I guess, bad and weak earnings reports in the chip space, like whether it was doom and gloom from both Samsung and Lam with their projections and the chip shortage, and then you had the market's reception to Intel. It was just a lot of doom and gloom. I mean, Teradyne, which oh my goodness, which does like chip testing for like literally everybody, got absolutely schmacked today. So I mean, the sentiment is ugly. Like if I pull up a chart of Teradyne, It's like it's actually bounced off 100 again. Of course it did, but like this has gotten absolutely shellacked, right? Like, you know, they do testing for pretty much anybody you can think about in the chip space. It was just a lot going off of those highs that was going to make it difficult for us to hold up today. And like I said with Tesla, like there was nothing bad about the earnings report. It's just about that contraction that's coming into the market. So it's not going to be necessarily a fun first quarter. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of times when we're in a raising rate environment, it's not always like it's going to be negative for the year. Like we have seen markets actually give you some gains, like, you know, 5-6% type gains in a raising rate environment. It's just right now to start the year, we're only in January. So I think you got to nibble in very, very select places and just make sure if you didn't diversify last year, which felt early at some points, but now certainly like it's not like these days aren't as bad if you look at your portfolio and you've got some banks, you've got some energy. But wow, like some of these moves to the downside and the way there was no bid in the aftermarket on some of these earnings, like Lamb was just, there was just no bid on it, and the way Teradyne is looking today. You know, we're in a different year, and that's for sure. And some of these high value tech names they're just going to come back.
Different year, different market, different results as well. We saw a big move for Netflix to the downside. Now back to the upside today. I'll show you the chart here in a second, but I guess all we had to do is wait for Bill Ackman to get involved, and then it bounces off 22-month lows. 3.1 million shares they picked up Pershing Square over the past couple of days in Netflix. Yeah, what sell-off? Day highs here almost, 9% for Netflix.
Yeah, we had this one. This one could have been the trade of the day as well on NFLX. You know, we have this at the day's low. There's really no lower print other than what was happening when it's in this print. And I don't even think we went down to 376 because I would have got stopped out. So we actually have a 379 bid in our account. Unfortunately, again, like not paying attention when the show ends is killing me because, you know, look at this buy area right down here, the same area that we were buying in the pre-market. We hit this for 10 bucks or 9 bucks, whatever we wound up taking, 388. I think it was a little bit more than that. What is this price? 379 up to 388. Yeah, so 8-9 bucks there on the Netflix win. It's the #1 stock on the sticky note today, and it's going to keep being that. When we get news like that, when you get a big boy coming in and buying shares, we all know Bill. I mean, maybe we all don't know Bill Ackman's history, but you know, as an activist, he's pretty. That Pershing Square is pretty aggressive in what they're doing with JCPenney. They picked that up. They picked up some. I mean, they had that fight with Herbalife and Uncle Carl. So I mean, and there's many more examples. But anyways, I just feel like this was a great opportunity to pick up Netflix on that cheap. We talked about it on this miss. I said that, you know, it doesn't make any sense that it's getting hit this hard, but at the same time, you know, they have to be honest with their shareholders, and if things aren't going well, then they're going to mention that, right? And I still feel like Netflix has a huge runway in India, in Asia, you know, places like that. People get their Netflix subscriptions extended and overcharged, and no one even cares. Like, it's not even, it's like a blip on the credit card statement, man. Like, people just let this thing go by, and that's what it is. Is anybody actually canceling their Netflix? I mean, people probably are, but most people are not. So I feel like this is a business that's going to be here for a while. I like Netflix moving forward, and I think it's just a smart move by Bill, and we'll see what happens moving forward here. And that's right, I just called him Bill.
Bill, yeah. Look, oh man, if anyone hasn't seen the, it was good entertainment. Bill Ackman and Carl Icahn. We were talking about the replaying, like maybe some.
That was a hell of a long time ago now.
It was a long time ago. Maybe some lines were crossed, certainly, but it was certainly entertaining at the time. But look. The other thing about Netflix, too, to keep in mind is it got cut in half. I mean, literally in half. And Daily Trade doesn't want to go back further. Obviously, it didn't come to market in the middle of May 2021. But, you know, 700 into that 350 level. And now you were already getting a multi-day consolidation. And when you talk about, you know, sort of coming off of disappointing, I guess, a subscriber number and out of the earnings, and you're already that beaten up, you want to let things settle down. But it's like makes a low, and then today starts to get going. We're not even at the point where it's breaking out. Part of that probably has to do with what the market is doing, certainly right now. But much like any other crazy move down, whether it's a short selling report or you know, maybe it's like for a pharmaceutical company, it could be that they have like a bad trial or something along those lines. When you get that capitulation, you always look out for the temporary low, right? Like if you look back 3 or 4 days later and you've held that capitulation bottom. In this case, literally 50% from 700 to 350. And then you start putting in higher lows. It's a pretty good bullish symbol, signal. I was sitting for a dip buy today because I thought the market was coming down, and it is what it is. Sometimes you don't get it, but you still have to look at that pattern and say it looks gorgeous, and it hasn't even gotten back to being able to break back out at about that 400 level, which could be coming. It's super strong today, so it also gets the check of relative strength on a day of weakness with the overall market down, like the ES down 0.5%, the NASDAQ down 3/4, and it's to the upside. So there's a lot of things going for it here in Netflix, and sometimes you just have to wait for those better levels. And it's a point, like, there's so many, like today on that stupid, I say stupid Teradyne because I didn't get it, that 100, like it was down significantly. I just didn't think it would go to $100, and then here we are. And then the same thing's going to happen over in Tesla. Now, to me, my shot was in Tesla. I just reloaded on Tesla in front of 850 because that's the level, and it could break it here, but that's the shot that I wanted to be able to take. And I wanted to make sure I have something on board if it gets into VWAP. And if it doesn't, and we break lower, then we'll get stopped out. But you have to wait for those key price areas to trade around and then look for those almost like golden opportunities. Because even in downward markets, you're going to get some of them. And that's actually one of the best things about the down markets. The other day, we had the best comeback day since 2008 for a day going red to green, like the biggest percentage-wise. And that was in 08 because that's what the down markets gives you as a short-term trader.
Let's go to Intel, guys. Another one that reported aftermarket yesterday. I mean, a decent report right across the board for Intel. It was down in the pre-market. We're at basically day lows right now for Intel. One of the reasons that the entire chip group is under pressure today, but INTC seems to be kind of leading the way here.
Oh. Sorry, like I'm literally saying I should be long at 850.01 is what I should be long.
Yeah, we're trying to work some of these positions out here. You're talking about Intel. Yeah, Intel, I can definitely beat that one up today. Actually, that's me getting beat up today on Intel. Intel's was a disaster for me in the morning, but at the same time, like I cleared out some of these wicks and they just come back. Okay, so we could look at this early. Look, I thought Intel would defend some of these levels. So we went long first, took out a little piece, and then it just kept on crashing all the way down. And then eventually we got lucky. And I'm going to say that we got lucky because I think that is what we wound up getting. And it doesn't break below the levels. We were at 47.75 as our out there. It doesn't break it. We're lucky not to get out. That is 100% the truth. And then when it bounced back up, maybe I'd zoom in a little bit more. I just want to see where the price was in relation to it right now. When it comes back up, and then this is why I have on here the 50-period moving average and VWAP and things like that, because when a stock comes right back up to the upside or to the downside, whatever one, and you're looking for outs, even when it was up here, look at all of these. Like, these are not winning trades. So it's not like I was like panicking to get out of a winning trade here. It's just it came back to levels that I thought, like, okay, if we can rally back here, like, I cannot believe Intel's down. I didn't think the report was that bad, the quarter, but apparently with the market today, and then you miss, even though I don't even think it was a miss, which it wasn't actually, Intel's still to the downside. So we're able to get out of the way. And then let me just zoom back out a little bit here. Let me just push forward to see where we're at now. So we're still at some of these levels that are of concern with Intel. So we've held out down here, though. I mean, again, look at that bottom. It basically makes the same bottom at 47.80 one more time. So as the market right now taking out lows, Intel's still a little ways away from its lows. So, hey, maybe this is an opportunity to get long. I just didn't think Intel was that bad. And I guess I was proven wrong. But I'm only net out 25 cents. So I'm considering that a win for me here today, as Intel really, really was just a disaster off the open, and I just kept catching a falling sword. Really lucky to get out of those shares.
Yeah, I mean, I took two shots as well in Intel, and I think the 48 was probably, like we were just talking with Tesla, like wait for the best level. I did take the shot at that 49 quarter area in front of 49, and then made the error of actually. When I scalped some out, I didn't adjust my stop order. So, of course, I end up not putting my stop order back when I went to resize it, and then manually got out by the time I realized and got slipped an extra 20 cents. So that's a keystroke error that cost me. I was able to get it back because that 48 level ultimately held, but then it reversed. Like, it has not been able to get past 49. I didn't come back the second time. I've taken Tesla here instead of Intel, which actually would have been, in some ways, maybe even a better trade because it gets all the way back into VWAP and probably a little bit more scalpable as well. But the thing about Intel's Q is everything was actually quite good, but you've got to consider they're spending a lot in their margin. I said this in the morning, so I'm going to be repeating myself. Their margins are still pretty low. Like they're usually over 60 and they're down in the 50s. I know they're spending a lot because of the turnaround, but that means that this is going to be a couple of year process for them. And that's, if you own them, that's what you own them for. You own them for the turnaround, and then understanding the fact that during that you're going to be able to get the dividend out of them. And then keep in mind as well, like I said about Teradyne and Samsung and Lam, there were a lot of negative winds going around in the chip space as well. So there was a lot that was said in the calls of Lam that was not good for the chip space. So once things got rolling over, there just wasn't much of a bid. And sometimes you just get that kind of a capitulation, and you should be waiting out a little bit more. It's almost as if sometimes when you're catching these bottoms, and I should be thinking about this more often. Like it's not much of a coincidence that when you get moves like that to the downside, sometimes you just have to wait till 9:50 or 10 o'clock. Like it's as much as it's levels, I find some of the best ones. It's almost never like if it's in the first 5 minutes, it's in the first minute that it makes the turn. You know what I mean? Like if it's still falling from like 9:31 to 9:35, even if it gets to your level, maybe size down because in this market it's too early, right? And then those better bottoms come a little bit later on in the session. But I'm literally saying that out loud now, just looking at this chart and looking at every other, like, because this is a chip name. Looking at every other name, looking at the EV names, where did they start to round out to bottoms? And it was almost like it was time-based, right? So I think patience is going to be the key. There are ways to grab longs when we're in these bear markets, but you've just got to find a way to be very, very patient and very, very disciplined about it.
All right, I saw a few people talking about Robinhood when this court decision came through, or this headline came across. They dismissed the meme stock case against Robinhood entirely. But still, all-time lows possible here today. If you go back to the beginning of the week, it was 11.15 all-time lows. We're just obviously above that. 6% Robinhood, guys, to the downside again, even with seemingly pretty good news.
Well, I mean, it's like pick your poison at some extent, right? I mean, SoFi's getting killed right now. Robinhood's getting killed. I mean, if you're a new name where, I mean, the average customer in Robinhood, I think their account was like $400 or something. This was as the last report, so don't quote me, any of you Robinhood holders there that have maybe 401 in your account. But I mean, the thing is like, again, this is a chart of Robinhood. I mean, it came to market and it's like, okay, this is what's happening right now. So I don't know. I mean, like people bought this thing at $60, $70, $80. And again, I really feel like the SEC needs to step in here and do something about some of these SPACs or these recent IPOs. Like, I mean, it's just like, get out of here, man. Like, how bad is this name? Down to $11 right now? I mean, this was $22 back in December, chopped in half in a month, half. Right? And I mean, I don't know. What's the catalyst to go upside? I don't know what they are. It's why I'm in Microsoft right now. It's why I tweeted out why I bought Salesforce and Microsoft. I understand their businesses. I understand where their revenues are coming from. Microsoft did $51 billion in one quarter. Okay? So I mean, until Robinhood starts to make some money, I don't really know what to do. I mean, it's the same thing. Look at SoFi. I mean, at least SoFi had a little bit of a bump back upside, and forget about the bank charter, but you could see here, this is the same zooming. At least it's still chopped in half from 24 down to there, right? But at least that was the high. SoFi is getting absolutely destroyed to the downside. Anything DeFi, my epic losses in PaySafe have been well documented as well. I mean, how many of these trades are we going to sit here and wonder what to do with them? The answer, yeah, Tesla's gone through 850.
I didn't even get short.
The answer to all of this is nothing. There's absolutely nothing you can do about any of these names except for hold them if you're in them right now. But there goes Tesla. We just heard Greg talk about it. We just heard Prad, Neil there as well with that long. You did not reverse short. You didn't get filled.
Well, no, I got the fill for the stop, but you know how it works. Like it has to be. So if you trade with Day Trade the World, like because of short selling rules and understand that you have to code something, a sell order for out of your longs, and it has to be coded as short sell. It's two separate orders to reverse a trade. So a lot of times that means reversing can be tricky when there's not a lot of liquidity. And my chart's on Robinhood as I'm talking about this because we're going to talk about Robinhood next, and then this happened on Tesla. So I did not get the fill reversing. I am actually on the offer because it did fire an order out there for me. It just did not get filled. So I'll go ahead and cancel that. But that was, if you heard anyone clap, it's because the fill was actually really good, the stop to get out. And it was essentially for probably about as many shares as you wanted, instantly $5.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so like that's the kind of situation where as a day trader, like you might take an amount of shares in front of those levels and want to be getting and holding for 20 bucks. When a level like that breaks, 850 is that capitulation bottom, you want to get into these, like you want to be able to take that $5 scalp because you can take a few more shares because it's instantly triggering all the long stops in that moment and there's so much liquidity. Was that Brennan?
Let's give you a different take. Let's give you a look from a higher time frame, guys. We're talking Tesla and we're talking, do you buy, sell, or do you hold at this point? Yes, we get earnings. Earnings were great right across the board, but with what is happening in the overall market, why on one side of the table would somebody want to step in at this point, and then on the other side of the table, like, why should we not?
So, like, first thing I will say is everyone's book is different. Everyone's time horizon is a little bit different. So I understand that. Some people want to swing trade it. Other people want to hold it for a year. Some people want to hold it for 10 or 20 years. If you are in Tesla and you have a reasonable amount and you want to hold the stock for 10, 15, 20 years, then I think it's a hold. I think the time when it made sense when we were talking about rotations was when it made the double top. If you were trying to get out of it and rotate out of it, you're already getting back to some pretty interesting levels. Like the 200 period is sitting here at 800, and you've got to understand this is a valuation crunch that we're seeing, right? So Tesla is the last stock that's going to be immune to it. And if you remember where we've come from on Tesla, like it wasn't that long ago we had that double bottom at 550, and it was. And I remember when we were trading this thing around the 600, the 636 break, and it's like, oh, that should be an easy scalp to $700. And then it took so much time to get to 800 where everyone was waiting for that breakout. And then once it got to 800, count the days from 800 to 1200. Like, it's insane. Like, it was just a couple of weeks. So that's the kind of crunch to the upside. And when it goes up that way, you understand that it can contract just as fast. And we're not even back to 800. This is October levels. October levels. So if you've been holding on to it, you should always have a plan when you do that. But if you've been holding on to it, it's not even to the price levels where it had that stability. And after a blowout earnings, I think that's going to come in. But it's not unreasonable if it's between 650 and like 700. That would not surprise me one bit. If it bounces at 800, I think that's going to be an interesting trade when we get there. But this is valuation contraction at its absolute best. I think Tesla is about 1 million times better than all of the other names, like whether it's Lucid, whether it's Rivian. I'm not betting on any of those over Tesla, but I own two things, and it's one that I think is the growth name, and that's Tesla. And you either own a Ford or a GM. I have GM. I think those are safer plays. I think Tesla is a firm hold for just about most accounts. But if you've YOLO'd and somehow it's like you've got too much on that you can't risk, then to me, you have to sell some before it heads back down to like 600. Otherwise, once it cracks 800, I think you can start thinking about buying it. But to me, it's not there yet. This is the day of earnings. Like it's just not there yet where I'd want to be buying it. It's not a Netflix. It's not a Microsoft. It's not an Apple.
Yeah, it's definitely none of those, but it's Tesla, and Tesla has sort of a cult following, and I think that's a reason why you can always buy it, because there are people that will come in and defend this stock no matter what, but I'll sort of take the other side and say that it's just super expensive right now, and you should probably be selling it. I mean, even if your time frame is 10, 20 years from now, I feel like you'll be able to reload somewhere a lot lower. It's one of the only tech stocks right now that is above its 200 period moving average. That's not going to last. That might not even last today. So I think there are some reasons to wind up selling this. Not only that, is Tesla not right now in a perfect world? I mean, they basically have no competition right now, right? They're the only ones producing these kind of cars. They're the only electric vehicle that really right now you could buy, that you'd want to buy. And so for me, if Elon Musk is forecasting a 50% jump in sales and the stock is down 10% the day that he says that, I mean, what if sales are only 40% higher? How much does this stock go down? 50%, something like that? So you got to be very, very careful here what you're doing with Tesla. I mean, I like the name. I'm a shareholder. But at the same time, you asked Brendan for sort of a bull versus bear case. I think Tesla right now is in a perfect world. I mean, what they have coming up are more competition, right? They have more people coming in trying to eat their lunch. I don't think they will, but in a perfect world for the other companies, then they do get their production ramped up. And there's only so many cars. Like, I'm only going to buy, well, maybe 1 or 2 cars, but I'm only going to buy 2 cars for my family. So that's the point, is that if I decide that I like the R1T instead of the Cybertruck, that's Rivian's car, right? The R1T, their truck. If I like the Air Dream instead of model whatever from Tesla, then I'm going to choose that. And I'm probably never going to, therefore, drive a Tesla. The last 10 years, if you wanted to drive something electric, it had to be a Tesla. So I feel like they're in a perfect storm right now, and they're not performing well. They're down 10% today. They're down here. They're off about, what are they off about? They're off about 40% from their most recent high that just hit in January. So, I mean, you go from 1,200 down to 800, right? That's not 40%, but that's close enough, all the way to the downside. So you're down, let's call it 30% in a month on Tesla. So yeah, something's broken over there. I don't like it at these levels. There's no way I'm a buyer here. And I think that if you do hold some shares, you won't regret selling.
Very positive report right across the board outside of supply chain concerns that were mentioned. They also talked about the Cybertruck, guys, not coming in 2022. It's going to be possibly 2023, along with a lower priced model, whatever you want to call it, that $25,000 model they've been discussing or rumored in the past few months, not coming until possibly 2023 as well. So there we go. Two sides of the coin on Tesla. I want to mention some of the vaccine names here because just saw J&J, for example, moving back to the upside, but Moderna has had a pretty impressive day as well. But here's J&J anyways. A lot of these staple type stocks getting a bump here this afternoon anyways. Maybe not due to vaccine news, but J&J just popping up on some volume here, guys. Held 170 nicely there a couple times.
Uh-oh, here goes Microsoft right now. Let's go, Softy. Come on, Softy. Let's go to the upside right now. As Softy taking up right here as we go long. Let's go, Trader Brad. We're in the money now, $1.50 on Mr. Softy. And yes, sir, that's why you trade the names that you like to trade, because here goes Mr. Softy. It's Mr. Softy's neighborhood, and we're just all simply guests. Let's go, Softy. Here we go to the upside. Neil, I don't even remember what stock you mentioned. I think it was J&J. Fisker also pumping as well to the high side. Let's go, guys. We're in the money now. We're rocking and rolling. You take over J&J right here.
No, J&J, look, it's not really doing much. I'll give it this much. Relative strength, we talked about this on earnings. I don't even know why it got beaten up as much as it did on earnings, but overall, we're right back to the upside of 1%. My daily charts are being an absolute, like, you know what today. But I love the fact that even when the market pulls back in, it's holding some highs here. They're going to give you the dividend. They've gotten past some of their issues. So it's a nice, strong name. For trading, it's just, I don't really see the vehicle for it. If you don't get an early market break, like, you want to have the momentum in something like this very early on. Otherwise, you're usually sitting it out or catching a bit of a curl. And there's no way like this was on my radar to be shorting or anything. And just to come back, I know you look that little bounce in the market that we just had there. Tesla, which we were just talking about, like, that's the blip. Like, it actually, this is why we talk about scalping something like an 850 break. It basically goes down to 41 twice, snaps back up to 50. Like, that's a $10 range that day traders probably had a lot of fun with when the stock has a $100 range on the day, Ms. V. Larry?
Hey guys, here I am to remind you, guess what, to like this video. We now have 3,500 viewers. Welcome everyone, I hope you're having a great day. And I want to ask you to smash the like button. Please help us to get at least 1,000 likes. All of us here on Trader TV Live team, especially Randy, are working so hard, guys, and we deserve your like. And meanwhile, we've got a super chat from Yogash X. Thank you so much. What do you think of a DocuSign short for long term? Do you guys see any short signs for DocuSign?
Man, we're just talking with Randy here. Like we said, the hardest working guy around. I do like that cup, though. Those are one of my favorites, that pink cup with the owl on it. A very, very nice cup there. And thank you guys again for everybody for watching. There it is. Let's show that off right there. There it is. A nice little cup there. Maybe we can get your opinion on Tesla for another show, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So DocuSign, still absolutely no money being made over there. They have a market cap of 24B, which is pretty low for them. I've really liked DocuSign. They were a darling during COVID period, and of course we're getting questions about it now because. Oops, it's docu.nq. We're getting questions about it now because of how beat down it is, and it's just one of those names again. Although its forward PE is getting much more reasonable now, only at a whopping 53. So, you know, if you're at a 53 PE right here, what were you at when you were at $300? For me, it's easy because it's just 3 times, so no math major here, but that's, you know, 150 PE up here. That's not going to work. So you see it just getting absolutely crushed to the downside. I just talked about this being a COVID dream stock, and it was. It really worked in that situation. You could see it's just absolutely up, and I was getting FOMO. This is a name that I wasn't in. It reminds me a little bit of Adobe, but again, you know, big time movement to the upside. Definitely got killed on valuation, and it's just one of those names. Do I like it better than Affirm, you know, PayPal, all those names? Yeah, probably. But at the same time, like, if you're talking about finding some levels, unfortunately, you're gonna have to come down here to 80 or 90 bucks. I mean, and even when you get down there, your PE is still gonna be like 30, right? So you still have, you know, well, even, what am I talking about? It'll be higher than that. But it'll still be reasonable to pick it up. But unfortunately, DocuSign, do I like it for long term? Yeah. It's just, I don't know when these valuations won't stop mattering. I mean, why did valuation didn't matter at all here? Like, even though, like, look, valuation was still 100 times when we were here, and then someone bought it up to 150, right? So something happens where all of a sudden now people are looking at what the Fed are doing. That makes sense, right? We're in a different rate environment right now. So for me, I don't like DocuSign here, and I've actually pivoted my whole entire strategy completely. Like, you saw me sell TDoc. I'm actually in none of these names anymore. Like, I'm not in, I mean, I'm holding PaySafe, I'm holding Clover. That's fun money. But as far as like investing, I'm not in any of these names. I picked up CRM today. I picked up Facebook today. I don't want to be in any of these names moving forward until something changes. I would rather pay $50 higher for this name, knowing that it's going to work, than chase this all the way down. So
the Fed tripled their balance sheet, just some easy math here, tripled their balance sheet in the pandemic. DocuSign broke out from 2020 March area here around $100 and went and triple topped at what? 300? 3 times. So, and that's what we said, when valuations stopped mattering because everything went up and like free money was a thing and everyone's getting stimulus checks and the balance sheet was going haywire. And this is what happens. And look, the reason I'm pulling it this far back is sometimes you just have to be able to separate, you know, the valuation and where the stock price is and what you think of whether you think the company is a company that will still be in business and has a good product and is going to be able to do their thing and eventually make money and still be there in 10 years. And I think DocuSign definitely can be all that, but there's every reason in the world that it could trade between $60 and $80 before you get to a level that you really like. And I think, you know, when it gets down there, like you get below that 30 mark, and yeah, why not? Like, jump into it at some point. And maybe that means some people want to get into it and dive in starting at like 90 or 100 for like 10, 20%. But you pick the ones that you like. You pick something you like, and when it gets to a price that's reasonable for you, fine. I just think that reality tells me DocuSign doesn't quite seem like it's there yet. It's just, there's definitely some room to continue to go, right? So, you know, be patient, because I think this is the kind of year where it's not as if you'll have to rush into any of these names. You can just be very, very patient and waiting, and make sure you pull that chart back far enough.
Just before we go back to Brendan here, just a target here for Softy. Come on, Softy, man, we're $2 in the money. I told you guys this earlier, man. I've changed. I'm a changed man right now. Like, we're trying to hold on to things just a little bit longer. And on that note, the more I look at this, the more I'm thinking like maybe I need to get out right now. But I'm trying to hold this for this 301. So, you know, like anywhere around here, I think is going to be a good trade. I could take a piece out right now because this is twice we've bounced off $300 and 60 cents. So, there it goes. Right back to the downside. Okay, let's alter said plan right now and get out in the 40s if we can. We won't wait for those 80s again. If Microsoft wants to rip up, we'll take that $1.70 winner on Softy and try to run away from that one. We should have just took it there. And again, we've seen it too many times, and that's actually not a bad spot to get out if we can. I feel stupid now that we didn't, because now it's down 50 cents from that level. But, you know, we've been making some decent cash and decent calls here. So sometimes 50 cents doesn't seem like that much, but we were just in the money. And it's like, what's happening right now to a lot of us is we're being like, you know, I don't want to say, it's such a different environment. I feel like we're kind of shrugging off wins that we need to be taking. Like, I don't really ever have $2 losers. So why am I not taking a $2 winner, especially if I can get out half of it or something like that, right? So, I mean, you know, we've changed from scalping to holding a little bit, but don't get me wrong, these are all scalps, right? I mean, we held one piece here. I still have 30% of the position on. So we hold this from 298. Of course, as it starts ripping up and the NASDAQ's getting killed today, of course I'm gonna take some out. But then when you're right, you know, it's like I don't need to have that $6, $7 winner again, like we've been having. And the word I'm looking for is we've been spoiled with bigger winners. Unfortunately, most of them are bigger losers to the downside. But it's like we're kind of like teaching ourselves here to expand, you know, the range a little bit. But when that range sort of gets expanded and you get to those areas, you need to realize that, hey, just because we were at 302 doesn't mean we're going back there. And sometimes you got to play some of those levels. And I guess Tesla's right back through.
It's still
850 again. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like it went back to 850 and then just immediately rejected. There's now sellers at that level on Tesla at 850. And someone asked in the chat, is it SSR? Absolutely. It hit the 10%. It just has to hit 10%. It doesn't flip back to non-short sale restricted just because it's under 10% down. It remains that for both today, the rest of the day today, and tomorrow, regardless of where it opens up. Tesla will be short sale restricted tomorrow as well.
I just want to say something. We did that Tesla thing there. We were trying to do like a bull and a bear case. I still own Tesla shares, and I'm not selling at these levels. I really do think that it is a longer term story. But you know, the more I talk about it out loud, the more I really think that I've made a little bit of sense in just the fact that right now things are working for Tesla, right? And I mean, sure, I still think it's performing. I mean, it is performing better. I just showed you Fisker, we showed you Lucid, we showed you Rivian, but Tesla has revenues. They have production, man. They have 3, 4, 5 plants like kicking it, right? I mean, there's China, there's Berlin, there's Austin, there's plants that are being worked on. And what is it, Austin? They expect 600,000 cars, something like that a year production out of that plant. So I mean, there's tons and tons of production for Tesla, and we all love Tesla. And Elon Musk has that sort of cult following. So, I mean, Tesla can still work in this environment. There's no doubt about that. But remember, man, like we were just, and don't forget, our charts don't show split adjusted, so that's what this is. But this was just $2,200 all the way to the upside. Now, I know it got split down here, and we're still higher than that. But like, just look at the runs that Tesla can have here. I mean, it's an unbelievable move that this stock had when valuation didn't matter. I mean, we knew Fisker was coming. We knew all these guys were coming. We knew Ford was working on it, and it still worked out. So I just think we're at a tipping point here with Tesla. You either like it or you don't. And if you're worried about the downside risk, then just get out. I mean, if you get out at 850 and you buy back at 900, honestly, you're going to look back and that $50 isn't really going to matter. I mean, depending on the share size you're talking about. But if you're talking huge shares, then I wouldn't be in Tesla right now. So, I mean, I just think it's a very, very fun stock to trade, but at the same time, you can lose a hell of a lot of money. You could be 10% down tomorrow, and then guess where you're at? 750.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're down to 650. So, like, if you're nervous about the names, guys, just get out. Like, that's my advice. I sold some Walmart today as well. Like, it's just like, I want to get out of some names that I don't think are going to work. And so Tesla, I'm just nervous about it. That's all.
Yeah, and look, someone asked, we just got a super chat asking about SoFi. And I think, look, some of these names fall into that bucket. You have to have an internal, first of all, you should always have an internal plan for what you want to do with your shares before you get into it, right? Like, you know, sort of asking after it's fallen down and it's broken a level. Like, I don't know. Are you talking about long term where you've got an amount that you can hold on to? Like, you pick your spots. It's probably at prices where if you're looking to hold it for 5 or 10 years, then it's going to make some sense for you to go ahead and do that. If you tried to swing this when they had positive news for the bank charter and then just held on and didn't take profits, well, swings should always have outs, and you've broken the support at $12. So if I was swinging it and got greedy thinking it was going to break at $16.50, I would have definitely had a stop at that 12 level. But that's like a swing style type of trade. If you're looking to hold it in the long term, understand it might be a bad year for something or a bad quarter for something like a SoFi that you're waiting around on for some time. But if you've got that time, and again, it's in that bucket where you've allotted, you know, I'm willing to lose on this. I'm willing to hold it for a long period of time. It's in for like that 10% rule where 10% in that high risk. Then yes, okay, fine. Pick your spots, but don't have your whole portfolio be in these names that are going to have trouble this year. And with that, we're not going to have any trouble having a little bit of fun and putting our listening ears on for our guest of the day here, Brendo.
Let's add to the conversation. We'll bring in Danielle Shea, VP of Options at Simpler Trading, get her take on Danielle, 850 on Tesla comes and goes. Hi, good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too.
As always, let's jump right into things here because it's at day lows right now. Give me your take, first of all, on the report. What did you think? You know, after which, you know, we get this huge down day.
So, you know, first of all, I just have to start off by saying I'm a huge Tesla fan. So I know people can be on one side or the other, but, you know, when you're looking at this earnings report and looking at this reaction, I mean, I think that everything that Elon said yesterday was expected, right? I mean, first of all, I think that the market is ignoring the fact that they beat on earnings. They beat on revenue. Yes, you know, guidance was a little bit slow because of the chip shortage, but I mean, that's not a surprise. I think that my biggest concern right here for not just Tesla, but also the NASDAQ this week is the fact that, you know, the NASDAQ is sitting right on key support at the 14,000 price point. And with Tesla just teetering right on the 200 simple, you know, if it breaks that area, it could go quite a bit lower. That being said, you know, I'm a shareholder and I'm definitely holding my shares and always looking for places to add.
Maybe one or two points from, you know, what was said specifically on the call. They talked about the Cybertruck. They talked about that $25,000 model not coming until 23. A lot of people were expecting it this year. Is that as big a deal as it seems to be?
I personally don't think it is, mainly because they also noted that what they were going to be doing was focusing on their tech. And what really sets Tesla apart is their technology. And so, you know, I know that investors get spooked when, you know, companies will come out and say, hey, you know, we're focusing on our technology right now because they don't really know what's going on and they don't have those products to be sold right now. But I mean, I think personally that that's the smart move. And then what we're going to see, you know, 2, 3, 4 years down the line is they're going to have an entire product line. And I mean, Tesla's already done a fantastic job getting ahead of the game as far as luxury car sales. You know, I just think that their time spent in investment is going to be well worth it down the road.
I thought that quote today was pretty interesting as well. Elon saying it's more important for Tesla to build a robot this year than it is to come out with new models. So Elon being Elon. Let's go back in time. And I know you love Microsoft. Let's talk about Microsoft here. What did you think of what happened off the report?
So looking at the Microsoft report, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Microsoft, and it's pretty rare that we get to buy Microsoft down at the 200 simple. I know that Sean's been watching that level right around 290, 300. I came in and bought more shares after the report. I still think it's a good spot to buy more shares, even though I do think, you know, we could go lower if we break this 290 price point. And, you know, because at that point, there's just not a lot of support until 260. But for me, Microsoft is one of my top 5 long-term investments in my stock account. I think that their report was fantastic. They typically have really strong reports. They're continuing to show a lot of growth. Their guidance was positive. So I think that they are going to be able to emerge from the rubble after all of this selling is done.
Monster acquisition, obviously, the ATVI deal that we talked about. Apple, obviously, on deck tonight. What are you looking at as far as how to approach this report tonight?
So I am concerned about the Apple earnings report today because right now what I'm looking at, Apple has a market maker expected move of about $6.42. Currently right now we're sitting at a price point of 160 and Apple has support down at the 200 around 147, right? So if Apple has just even a slightly larger move than expected, they're going to end up down on their 200 simple. And that is just such a key area of support. And if that breaks, I mean, it's going to pull the rest of the NASDAQ lower. So I'm very concerned about this Apple report because, you know, Apple, they have a physical product. They're probably going to have issues with the supply chain, with the chip shortages in a way that Microsoft didn't really have, you know, problems surrounding any of that. So I think that right here, all eyes are on Apple, and especially with the way that the market reacted to great reports in both Tesla and Microsoft. I mean, unless they can do something phenomenal, they're going to bring the NASDAQ lower.
I know you want to get the guys' thoughts here on the overall market, so we'll bring in the guys here in a second. But we have a couple of questions from everyone who's watching right now, and I want to mention one of them specifically because it's a good question, and that's on credit spreads. And how does one go about defending a credit spread?
So if you're going to be selling a put credit spread, for example, I try to get my screen share going here, but maybe we can work on that for the next time. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So for example, if you're looking at Apple, let's just use that because right now the IV is pretty high. You have that market maker expected move. Let's say, you say, hey, Danielle, you're completely wrong. Apple's going to go higher. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to sell a put credit spread, which is totally fine. That's what makes a market, right? So if you came in here and you sold a put credit spread, I like to do them at the money. So for example, if I sold, right now, current price is 159.25. So if I sold a put credit spread at, let's say 159 and then bought the, let's say 155s. And then let's say tomorrow you wake up and Apple's all the way down here at what? 150. You have a put credit spread that's now in the money, totally max loss. Really the only way to defend it is to sell another one. So you could come in and you could say, all right, well, let's pretend that Apple does hold 150. You could sell another put credit spread down here, 150, 145. And if that level held, you would then be able to at least come back to break even because this one would be a max loss. This one would be a max profit. The problem with defending stuff like that is, let's say this level doesn't hold either. So now you just took your loss and you just doubled it. So typically what I like to do is I just go into a trade and I say, hey, this is the risk I'm taking. And I usually don't defend. I just risk the amount that I'm willing to lose.
Great stuff. Go ahead, guys.
Oh, okay. We're going to
awesome.
Right into the 3-pip.
There's one thing I just wanted to ask you here, Daniel, because a lot of people on our show, they like to even trade and sort of scalp options, and I know that's a bit of a different story. But my question has more to do with what we've seen in earnings, aftermarket, and some of the lack of bid. I mean, I was astonished by a name like Lam dropping as much as it did in the aftermarket, and then you see the lack of bid by Tesla, Microsoft with that ridiculous fall, and then it snaps right back. So, what is this telling you about the volatility overall that we're seeing and where these bids might be, and what cautions should some traders be looking for when they're getting a little bit like scalpish with their options plays?
I mean, honestly, it's bad. It's not a good sign at all for the market that the NASDAQ is sitting here hanging out on the lows and you have some of the biggest companies out there coming in reporting earnings and nobody's impressed, right? So I think that when you're scalping, I mean, there's a couple different things that I like to look at. I can bring up my intraday grid that I use. But when I'm scalping, this is basically what I use. So I'm using the market internals. Definitely have to look at the ticks. I mean, I want to see if there's, more buying versus selling. This is pretty much my primary tool that I use right here. I also follow the volume up or volume down. I like to use the put call ratio a lot. If people are really scared and they're coming in and buying puts, that just shows sentiment. And right now on this grid, what it means is basically the put call started out today around about 0.65, which is showing that people were definitely coming into today buying puts, but throughout the session, put buyers were coming in, and they've sent the put call ratio up to 0.9, which is actually very high. And it shows that people are scared, they're short. And so what that tells me as far as a scalping basis is you have to be really careful when you're trying to come in and short the market because a lot of other people are doing the same thing. And what will happen so often on days like today, when you're down here, these are 5-minute charts of the S&P, the Dow, and the NASDAQ. When you're down on the lows of the day, especially going into the last hour of trade and the put call ratio is this high, all it takes is just a little bump in buying, and you would see that coming through on the ticks if you get about like a plus 600 or more. And the short sellers can get squeezed out real fast, and you see a rip rally into the end of the day. So For me, when I'm, trading these kind of volatile markets, I have to use the put call ratio. I have to use the ticks, and I have to use these 5-minute charts, because you just want to be really careful when the sentiment is getting shifted one way or another.
Thank you so much. It's something I know a lot of people, our traders, have been looking at before, so I want to make sure we got your advice on it. Thanks again, Danielle.
Yeah, of course.
I want to ask you about something here, but if you can go to my screen quickly, guys, I just want to talk to the viewers about Microsoft. We were just buying this dip down here, and 298, 298.50, we were buying this. Now we're a buck and change in the money on Microsoft, and it's still starting to go out. So just for you guys know, we're going to try to get out in this grouped out area here around 301. We'll see if we can get this for about 2 and change here to sort of cap off what's been happening. But hi, Danielle, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Sorry about that. I just had to go over some of the trades there. We've been messaging a little bit back and forth, and I mean, and you mentioned in your sort of office and amongst people that you're with too, there is some talk maybe about the S&P even falling another 20%, something like that. And I'm using the words kind of like a doomsday situation. For me, I don't believe it, because I feel like there's too many good quality companies out there that will eventually find bids. Although Neil talked about the liquidity in the aftermarket, I really feel like at some point, Softy, Apple, all those names are going to get bids. So I'm going to show up here and throw on the spiders. And I mean, we're already below the 200 period right here. We've already cracked below. I feel like it's too late to put on any, insurance or a hedge to any of your holdings, because you've missed that. This is when you don't want to put on hedge, right? You don't want to hedge your risk now because the move's already happened. First of all, do you agree or disagree with that statement? Maybe it's too expensive right now to protect some of your investments.
Hey, I completely agree with what you're saying. Literally every single point. And, the fact of the matter is like, that's when people are always asking, hey, how can I hedge? And it's like, well, you really want to hedge when the market's up at highs. But if you really, really want to do it, don't let me stop you, because I mean, I do think that there's a pretty decent possibility that, with the indexes down below the 200 and the fact that we've gotten through earnings and we haven't seen any bid really that was meaningful, I do think that there's a possibility that we go quite a bit lower. So, I mean, if you really, really wanted to hedge right here, the problem is it's going to be so expensive. If you go out, 2-3 months and buy some Delta 70 SPY puts, it's going to cost you $3 or $4 grand a pop, which is a very expensive options trade. And if you're wrong, that entire thing is going to go to zero. So it's just one of those things that for me, down on these levels, what I'm doing is I'm looking for those large cap, mega cap stocks, the market leaders. You've got Microsoft, you've got Apple, normally Tesla, Home Depot, Lowe's, Costco. I'm looking for signs of life in those stocks. And I'm really just focusing on like day trading and also buying long-term stocks, because right here, you're really at a really important tipping point, and it's not really a great time to put on a lot of swing trades because we're teetering on a ledge here.
Yeah, that's sort of what we've been advising these guys is like, if you want to put on a swing trade, do it kind of at your own risk, because no one can predict what's about to happen. And I think you had a good point there about Tesla too. And I said this just before you came on, like yesterday it was 950, today it's 850. You drop another 10% and then it's 750, and then you get to 650. And then the next thing you know, everyone's in this huge panic and in a tizzy. And then I just think that calmer heads will eventually, allow you to settle down, understand the risk you have. And honestly, when we talk about hedging portfolios, I really think that if you're at the situation where you're like, oh my God, I'm so nervous, then you had too much in there to begin with. So just exit out, calm down, watch your positions, and see what happens from there. I do want to, before we let you go, I want you to promise me something here, and this is not going to be that drastic, and I know that you are. I'm putting you on the spot here, by the way. And that is that, and I know you're busy throughout the day. And if you do see something that does catch your eye, like a trade that is, a can't miss trade, will you promise to come on tradertv.live and tell us about a great opportunity that you find?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can definitely do that. I mean, I'll tell you right now that like I don't day trade a lot. Like I normally swing trade, but the times that I do day trade are going to be the first hour in the morning and the last hour at the end of the day, because the trade that I kind of just walked through where you're watching those market internals, you're watching the ticks, you're watching the lows on the day. The time that those usually come through are going to be at the beginning of the day when people are panicking because of the overnight price action, and at the end of the day when people are panicking. So yeah, I mean, we can definitely do a segment like that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I kind of want to do like a segment like where you get like, you know, I'm going to copy this from another channel, but they have like options action, you know, and all of a sudden it's like this option is being, you know, bought at 20 times, you know, normal volume, something like that. If something triggers like that, let us know, send us a message and we'll have you right back on. I do want to say we can put the 3-pip back on. Yeah, thank you. Wow.
There you go.
How did that happen
Rob,
so fast?
he knows
I want to say something because Neil, and we talked about this last time, a huge Buffalo Bills fan.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so now his new unfavored number is 13 because of the 13 seconds. And I know you were watching that game. What an exciting game that was. And I just want to say good luck to the Kansas City Chiefs because now we have Danielle Shea as a member of our Trader TV Live family. So now, Neil, we can cheer for the Chiefs. Can you cheer for the Chiefs, Neil?
I don't have a choice.
Okay, so there we go. So we'll cheer for the Chiefs.
That's cold.
Man of many words over there.
But
no,
you know
look,
it
I'm
hurts.
a Packers fan.
You know it hurts.
I'm a Packers fan. So you think they're going to win the Super Bowl, Danielle?
You know, I think so. Patrick Mahomes, he's absolutely amazing. I am born and raised in Kansas City, so I'm a little bit biased, but my family's going to the game this weekend. I'm not gonna be able to make it, but yeah, my dad and my brothers are gonna be there this weekend in person, and yeah, I think that they can do it.
I think they should. I mean, they have to be the favorite to win.
That was
Arrowhead is amazing, by the way.
We saw. I think the semifinal game was the two best teams in the NFL played each other. I think that was obvious. So hats off to Patrick Mahomes. The guy's an absolute beast, man. Like he killed it. I'm still hurting because I wanted to be in Buffalo this weekend watching the AFC Championship game, and obviously that won't be the case. So I hope your family enjoys it. I'll be rooting for them because when you get knocked out, you cheer for that team to win.
Danielle Shea.
That's so nice of you.
Danielle Shea, VP of Operations at Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for coming on. We look forward to you next week. And don't be shy. Come back if you see something you want to tell us.
All right, I will.
Ciao.
Bye.
I should have asked her if she knows about Bruno because I don't want to have anyone talk about
Bruno again.
And actually, when we did have our little get together in preparation for this, we did talk about Bruno, but we're not going to talk about Bruno
not supposed to,
because you're not supposed to talk about Bruno, so we're not going to do that. I haven't said that yet today, so you still haven't watched.
You haven't?
Encanto, though.
I still have not seen it. You know I haven't seen it.
I like Encanto, man. Shout out to Colombia.
By the way, as Trader Pratt was mentioning, and I threw it in the chat so everybody could know, there is some size on Tesla at 840. So, I mean, I don't know. If you know anything about trading in front of size, I'm taking a couple of day trader shots in front of it here. And let's just see what happens. I mean, we know there's a scalpable trade off of it. So I'm going to do that whole day trader thing where suddenly you start thinking about just taking, like, you risk like a couple of dollars to eventually make maybe even like 5 to 10. Like if it just even goes back and keeps channeling this 840 level into like 845s to 847s. And if it's going to do it enough times, it can be worthwhile. But, you know, first things first, understand the fact that we're in a bit of a downward trend. And eventually, if we continue this, we're going to be breaking that level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you bounce off this and the trend doesn't reverse, then just like it was at 850 and it was a good bounce. And I got greedy with that bounce. That's why I'm changing the approach here. I'm going to try to scalp it out here if we can get it. But, you know, understand that eventually when you do this and the channel breaks, a lot of times it's right back to the downside. What I would like to be short, and I just missed it off $50, is a firm. And I'm like tapping myself on the head. It's like, Neil, go back to the well. And that has been every single day when I wanted the short weakness going into a firm. So that gets anywhere close to 50. I'm going to be trying that on a bounce. But some size at 840 on Tesla. It bounced off there. Now is holding 841s. I got an average price here of just below 842. So I want to be making sure if it's 1-to-1 at 840 that I'm taking some profits. I already did once, you know, in that 843, 844 range, and then see where it can go from there.
So crazy. We were waiting at $300.70, on Microsoft that we just missed it. Not just, it only went to $300.24. And like I said, like why am I waiting to get $2, man, when we had that trade? So we'll get some out now at 300. Okay, Microsoft. We'll put an offer right now at $299.90 and see if we get picked up, and then we'll cancel our other one and hope for that all the way to the upside. Yeah, and thanks for all the nice comments there in the chat because, you know, we're really happy to have Danielle there. And I mean, hopefully She'll be able to screen share more often. And you see how I mentioned that. Hopefully she'll come on if she sees an upsized option trade or something like that. Let's give it to us, and then that way we can broaden sort of the perspective of the show, right? I mean, that's why we're doing this. And instead of bang, it's going to be Bruno. Okay, maybe we could do that to some extent, but right now we're trying to bang it off. That might not sound good. On Microsoft right now. It's not like, remember that Coffee Bros. We had a fun time on that one when that was trading. That's why I don't trade Dutch Bros anymore, or whatever that was, because we had some slip-ups.
Yeah, that was
we were like
time,
bang, and then the stock we were trading was Bros, but then there was bang. Anyways, you guys can figure that out for yourself.
Look, everyone already knows it. I think we don't have to necessarily.
Yeah. Before I do that, the chat's going to go crazy, so let's not do that. So right now, $299.80. It's always too late. See, I do things on purpose. That's the thing. $299 and change going to the upside. We'll have to watch that. And then just we talked about EV space. So where's my unplugged EV here? Right now, where is it? There it is right now. Because we actually did pretty good on Fisker now. This was a good trade. We put on a position here. Then we put 3x the position down here. And again, let's do a little bit of education now. When you're putting on a trade that is up at a level, I'm just putting this on to defend this area here, the 50 period, right? So we're defending the trend. Once that breaks to the downside, my out was always going to be a 10 break. So I do sit down here. This is at 10. So I sit down here at, what am I long, at 10, 11? So I sit down here at 11, and it just came in on that break, used the momentum to pick up a cheap fill down there. That's literally all that we did. And then when it busted back up to the upside, right into these levels, like we were hoping for a break, but my best out is 26 right there off of an 11 bid. So average price there, we had a 22 plus an 11 gave us, I think, like a 14, because remember, it was 3 times the size down there. So even though we're getting out up here, it's a nice little winner, but Fisker just didn't want to go. If the futures go, I think Fisker goes, but at the same time,
what's
not working.
You know why it's not low? I mean, Tesla right now is churning through volume at this 840 level. So, I was able to pull the scalp off a few times. It hasn't gone any further than 840, 843.5 is about as far as it's going. But it does give you a bit of a range. Like I said, eventually it might just break this, and then it's not going to be a winning trade.
Brad said there was big size there.
But there's a level at 840, and the second I put in the chat, Brad mentioned it. I hadn't actually seen it, but when I scrolled down, there was a buyer, and it's been able to go bouncing off of this a couple of times. I first went long at some 82s, and I was getting some 42s, and I was getting some 41s, and I'm trying to scalp out of it. I do want to make sure, if it does make a bottom off this level, that I can hold something for a little bit bigger. But I think this is what's holding some names up here. And this is not the only thing moving in the market. Remember I just said what I should be, this is what Tesla doing all this volume is distracting me from. It's I should be shorting a firm. Look at this nonsense, right? I just missed a curl off $50 and the firm's at 48.60. Opportunity cost, man. You get away from what you don't get away from what you do best, because we're about to crack that level right here on Tesla, and I could be short a firm $1 in the money instead of scalping Tesla here.
We took the trade as well, but it is going to break. Look at the size going through 40. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye-bye. There we go, straight to the downside, and there's the out right there on Tesla. So we got out of that one, but there it goes, cracking lower, lower, lower. See ya later, alligator, as Tesla, nothing but love to the downside there. I tried that. The first trade I took on Tesla right there. We will make a $1.20. It's a $1.20 hit there. So not bad at all. We took a shot and did not work. So there it is, out of Tesla. Wow. You hit the nail on the head right about that. Why are we going long when you could just reverse it into a short?
Yeah, but I got
really
slipped. So remember I put 2 separate orders. So I got slipped. The second order doesn't fill me till 838.50. I got out of my long pretty decently, but I reversed into the short. I got 838.5. So I'm always trying to scalp some of this out. And the first move is only giving me a couple of dollars. It's not even really extending here. But you know what? I know what it is. We just bounced off 43 on the ES, so it's trying to catch a bid. The NASDAQ is still squarely through that 14,000 mark, but the ES did just catch a bit of a temp bid off of 4,300, and maybe that's what stalled this move. So a little bit of a disappointment, I'd say, on the punch short.
Okay, yeah, I mean, at least you were able to get that short and did print a little bit here, so we'll fire off another cannon as here we go, we holding on to our softy trade. We just took a little piece out right there, and we're only firing that cannon off because of this rebound a little bit in the futures, because we do not get knocked out of softy as it comes close to breaking that. It did break 298, I believe, there, but it just bounces back up, and now we're long one more time into a successful trade here for Microsoft as that's rebouncing back up. Oh, here it comes. I mean, we took out a quarter there to relieve some pressure. If we can get back up here to VWAP, like, it's so stupid that when Danielle was on there, we didn't get out at 3 bills there. We should have, especially when it cracked back lower below this 50 period. So there still is more work to be done by me on all this. But yeah, it's been a fun week, man. It's been a fun month of trading, but it's been a disaster for the long-term portfolios, that's for sure. Yeah, that's why we're here every single day. Again, thank you for watching. Microsoft, if we break a little bit lower, we're out. So let's go. Here we go. Let's go, softy. All the way back up to the upside. We're long 298.40. I have an offer. Yeah, we got to get out near 299. If we get out 299 flat, we'll do that. And then we'll hold the rest for this 300 level right there, and then hopefully be able to have that. So long 298.40. All we're trying to do now is sort of like patch up the blood, man. Like, if we can like stop the bleeding on this name. Oh, a funny story here. I just messaged my dad because I told him that I bought some just my own account. He doesn't manage it, but I am managing some other money. But the point is that I said that I bought that oil. We're already pretty exposed to oil in another account. But he goes to me, he goes, "Oh man, thank God it's Friday. I don't know how much more I can take of this." And I just messaged him back, "It's Thursday."
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I'm waiting for his response now. That should be pretty funny. But literally, like, I did like a nice little thing, and then he did a nice little thing back. And I love you, Dad. What's up? And then he goes to me, he goes, "Oh, it's Friday." And I was just like, "Oh man, that sucks," because it's only Thursday. So.
And so obviously a lot moving here. So I get in, I took some profit on the scalp trade, but it's a breakdown trade. So I get back out when it reclaims 840 on that Tesla. And we'll let it settle down a little bit here. If there's any pop, oh God, I got a shorter firm. But Lucid, on the other hand, by the way, like, Lucid doesn't crack, I know it's down 14%, but Lucid doesn't crack the fresh low. We made a new bottom there. So if there's something, because it's filled in the entire gap, by the way, and that's probably the only reason why I'm even going to try and contemplate taking this off the low of the day. It's really slowed down. It's filled in that gap. This is the opposite of what I'd be thinking if something gone parabolic to the upside. When it fills in a gap like this on the daily chart, I'd be looking to fade. When it starts to roll over, or I guess, yeah, roll over from the top side and whatever the word is for the bottom. So that 28.50 is what we said in the morning.
Come on, Microsoft.
The longer it holds this, I'm just going to get into some shares here. I do still like it a bit better right at that 50 mark, and your risk is when it broke 50, it went about 11 cents down to 39, right? So the low of the day is your risk point, but the fact that we just bounced on the ES, Tesla is still holding around that 840, and if the NASDAQ gets back above 1400, something that didn't push lower, that has a lot of room to run, because we're $1.50 away from VWAP right now. You know, so risking about 20 cents to be able to get it makes some sense to me and Lucid. I know we're all over the short today, but sometimes you've got to be willing to go both ways, and in this case we are.
And here it is again. It's a hot dog kind of time. Someone said, "Uh-oh, Sean, if he can get patience like Arun, he's going to be a very dangerous man." Yeah, thank you for whoever that was in the chat. And that's exactly, and I told you, man, Arun was here late December, and I've changed my strategies just to like implement a little bit of me. And then, I mean, Arun to his own, you'll see him when he's here next week, but he does prefer to trade futures instead of the equity. So I'm trying to like broaden the horizon a little bit and try to hold things for a little bit longer. And on that note, we were just 20 cents away. I was waiting at 299.70. I told you guys there. We went as high as 299.69. Is that for real? Did we just go there? 299. Yeah, I think we did. I think we went right 1 cent away from my, 1 cent away from my fill. So, all right, well, that's not good. We'll put it at 299.60 now as we go to the downside. But again, thank you for all those nice, kind words about that. But yeah, you got to be disciplined in this area. And that's what we talked about with our guests. That's what Neil's been talking about. And it's like, have your outs and have your ins, man, and just stick with whatever rules you have. And then I think we got to say a big shout out also to Trader Prad, because you know, on our Discord, the dude, there he is, what up here, Brad? The dude blogs or logs, not blogs, logs his trades every day and talks about them, puts his plan of action, puts that on the Discord. So make sure you hit hashtag Discord or whatever it is on the chat there to make sure you join our Discord because, you know, there's lots of information there. And I think that's the most important thing is look at your strategies. What isn't working versus what is working, right? Like, sure, 6 months ago when Microsoft moved like $2 a day, yeah, man, a 50-cent win, you'll capture 25% of the average daily move. I'll take that. But right now, today, a stock like Microsoft, a stock like Tesla, like look at these moves, man. This is $10, right? So things are still crashing. Is that Tesla still crashing, Neil? I know
yeah, it's still crashing. I'm kicking myself. Like I got out of that like scalp level, like get in, get out, like really quickly. Now it's already at 830, so this is falling like an absolute rock now.
Yep.
Retaking the lows here, so ridiculously weak, 11% now on Tesla. And there's down here, there's not a heck of a lot of levels, but I will tell you that the 200 period, if we drop another about $15 or so, that becomes in play down here at 815. So and we knew it was going to be violent. We talked about 10% in either direction for earnings, post earnings on Tesla, and yeah, we're well past that now.
I thought I sent the picture to my mom, but I didn't, so I'm going to send it to her right now. There it is. All right, go. All right. Okay, all right, let's go. All right, so Fisker back down to those levels there. Oh yeah, my dad just messaged me back. He just said, just wishful thinking, I guess. So covering his tracks there, but he definitely thought it was Friday. Okay, let's just keep on going. Another bounce spot there. Unfortunately, I did not have a bid. I would have loved to have a bid down there, and I just missed it. Was too busy talking to you guys, to be honest with you, but we will put another bid down. That's just an excuse. We can get long right now if we want to. So what is the price of Microsoft? 298. I'm going to get out at a 298 break, so I think we got to do this a little bit lower, like 298.30, something like that. If we can get a bid down there, we'll do that. Because again, my breaking spot's going to be this 298. So I don't want to average in too much. Our current price is 298.30. If they want to give that to me again, we'll take it one more time. But other than that, it's like the most I just got out of this 298. I mean, this is the thing. When you're talking about risk, like I'm going to give this 50 cents down, right? Like our first leg out was 40 cents. Our second leg out was 80 cents. So, you know, and then our next leg out was going to be 300. So we basically take like a 1-to-1, and then we're looking for like a 1.5 or 2-to-1 on the end, right? So that's part of like risk management. You don't want to turn what was a good idea into a horrible one because you simply didn't execute properly. So keep your trades in mind for that. I feel like
also,
the NASDAQ might rally.
I mean, it might, and I'm sort of thinking like as long as we don't break the lows from overnight, which, I mean, look, it still could happen, but that's down around like 13.85 or something like that. But guess what is in range? And I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen today. AMD is within spitting distance of $100, right? So, yeah, 102 we're sitting at right now. I mean, AMD on the daily chart, it's $100 is a round number. It's a psychological number. It's also support on the daily. So you can kind of guess. Like I'll pull the same thing, although this time, and what I did with Tesla is like I actually made the mistake of when you do that trade of the getting long in front of a key level like that, each time you take it should be for less shares because each time it tests that level, it's more likely to break. I didn't do that. I had the same amount every single time, right? So that's pretty dumb. But if the same thing happens at 100, say on AMD, maybe in the next 20 minutes or so, I would definitely do that kind of an idea where if you take the bounce the first time, if you want to reload, just don't take as many shares. And this is like we got Apple coming. Like, oh my goodness, if Apple has any hint of disappointment, it's going to suck for the market because, obviously, we've seen what happens on every single bid, no matter how big you beat. If there's anything they can nitpick, if there's any sign of weakness, these stocks are getting crushed. And if there is one thing that tells me it's like, oh my, like Teradyne, oh Teradyne, oh Teradyne. Teradyne is back at 110, and sometimes it's just about how far something has fallen, but this was, I didn't realize it was that ugly. Wisdom Gates, I was random. I was going to talk about this. Thank you for the super chat there, and I'm glad you took this trade because while I was yapping about it and actually not just punching in and then talking about it, Teradyne was giving you some entries off of 100, and this is a name that got absolutely shellacked in the chip space. They do chip testing, like diagnostic chip testing for literally everybody. I mean, just you name the company that, and trust me, they do testing for them. But just obvious support there on the daily, much like your AMD 100 is going to be a thing. Hopefully, if we get a chance to trade it. It just gapped right into that range, was able to hold that bottom, and now you're able to see like at 110. So you can call it a whatever cat bounce or whatever you want to call it, or a curl, or just it had already capitulated. Sometimes those are some good trades to be had. And in the bear market, if you don't have the short, you have to try to hunt for those levels. I'm looking for that on Lucid strictly because of the risk to reward. That's all it comes down to. Like to the low of the day, it doesn't take much of a bounce for it to give you a good risk to reward ratio. Like I'm risking, it's about 30 cents plus slippage there, but then I'm not looking first out until we get up towards that 29 area. And that's like this is 29. Like VWAP's at 30. It's 1-to-1 down here, right? Like it's 2-to-1 here. So like that's why I'm looking for Lucid. I mean, I should have Teradyne. There's not much of an excuse for it, except I was talking about it first. Miss V has something for us.
Hey guys, welcome everyone who just joined us. If you're not a subscriber yet, please do so and catch us live every day from 8:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. Eastern. Guys, it's just 30 minutes left until the end of this trading day, and we still don't have 1K likes even. 4,000 people are watching. So Team Please, I'm pretty sure each of you has the like button. So please smash it right now. Back to you guys.
We like that, man. Smash that like button as much as you can. And I think that only means you can do it once, because if you do it more than once, then it will unlike. So please don't smash it too much there. Yeah, smash it if you can. That'd be nice. We don't mind that one bit.
Ooh, I got to get out of this area.
Okay, so by the way, meanwhile, while you guys were gone, it is, where is it? It is Bruno for Microsoft right now as we go to the upside. I'm going to mention Bruno, man. I'm talking about Bruno because look at this trade. There it goes right up to the upside. There's another big win. You guys wanted the Bruno bang there. It still doesn't sound good either. But down here, 299.40 we got out. We were going to wait for 299.60, which would have just printed, but we were peed off that we missed that before. So I'm going to get out of another piece of Microsoft right here, and it's just been a cash register for me today, not just today, but for a long time here, as Microsoft just continues to be that trade that I love to make. Down here, just buying these. I mean, you might think like, oh, he's just, why isn't he holding these? Why? Because how many times are you going to make the same profit? Like this down here, you're taking dollars out of the market right there. Then you're flat, then you're reloading, and you're taking another couple dollars. Then you're flat, then you're reloading and taking another couple dollars. So when Microsoft sits in a range here, 298 to 300, it's in a $2 range in the last hour, and how many dollars have we made on it, right? Much more than 2. So as you're looking at that, that's why I do like some of the talk here in Apple. I'm actually debating getting out of Apple right now. Not out of it all, but out of like 20% of my Apple position. It's a way oversized position in my long-term account, because if Apple beats, great, I can buy more, and the rest of my stocks will naturally go up. But if they miss, right, then does Apple not come back down here to 146, 147 tomorrow? And in that case, I can rebuy back a little bit. So I'm going to make an epic mistake right now and sell Apple shares in my long-term account. The reason being is for that miss, and it's just because I'm not smart enough to sell the call options. So I would sell Apple right here, buy it back if they can reach down to some of these levels, like where Softy's trading and whatnot. That way I won't feel so bad holding the bag on AAPL. So I think that's a good move to do that. Let's sell Apple right now and then buy some back tomorrow, and hopefully we can, or maybe not tomorrow, but hopefully buy them back at a lower price. I'm willing to do that on 20% of my Apple position. And I don't know. Oh yeah, that was Borat there. But remember, I like the old school Ali G, right? We don't like that. That was he did a movie about that. He's a German fashion designer.
Bruno.
Oh, his name is literally Bruno. Yeah,
Bruno,
but that's not the Bruno we're talking about.
Like everything that was on the show was character-wise. I like the original show. It's just the new stuff. You can't get me on board with it. I think you're stink bidding Apple at the 200. Like, and the crazy thing is, it doesn't report. Like Apple doesn't give you like 405 or 410. Like I think Apple's always at like 430 or something. So you'd have to wait around a lot for it. But certainly we've seen what's happened on those bids, and it's been fantastic opportunities to be able to catch those. Microsoft was an example of it. Even Tesla at that bottom. There we go. We'll ring a little Reggie for Lucid, because when we talked about the RR, risk to reward, for some of these trades, and like I said, it was 1-to-1 when it's barely even moves. And if we have, and I'm going to jinx it right now, obviously the market doesn't care what I say. We just got back to that $14,000 mark on the NASDAQ, and of course it's going to reverse. but we're well now above the 43, which is another corresponding level here on the ES, which has managed to be held. So if we get even a small muted rally, some of these names that have been beaten up have a decent amount that they can go. And I keep seeing people talk about INDO, which, by the way, if there was one time that we don't actually get the locates on the stock, because it was just like I would be in this for sure off that $9 for the short side. It just put in another fake out up. It's done this twice at about $7, where it tries to break and fakes it out and drops a buck. Well, it tried to break 7 again, fake out, trap, and then came back to 650. And it's been doing this. I know it got off the bottom a bit earlier, and maybe it has another run in it, but there's been a couple of rug pulls on this stock. I'd be very careful trading it. I wouldn't be short on this name unless it retested some of those highs, but it's already had a monster capitulation, and I'm really hoping we get some locates to be able to trade this one tomorrow. Like I said, I got some of Lucid, and if the market does pop, I'm still trying to get some Affirm shorts. If we can get over to Affirm, I just like to see it get back to, there we go, get back anywhere close to that $50 level. I mean, that was a great short if you took the 50 short, but there were so many names off the bottom and so many opportunities that this one kind of got away from me a little bit. I'll try to rectify that by getting in on any kind of a pop, and wow, Teradyne. Like, this is, so I started thinking about what level does this even reverse? Like, the way this market is going, something like this, like people that scout the bottom, like I guess I started thinking about, well, profit taking in the other direction, not shorts covering, like some of those longs looking at the morning bounce at 112, and where is it a reversal? Like, that's just where my mind starts to go right now with about 30 minutes or less than 30 minutes to go. And it's been a great run for Teradyne off that bottom, but just remember, like, they got beaten up on earnings because it was a huge disappointment, and that's a good 10% return off of those bottoms already for the day traders.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, right? Is your time frame and what you're expecting from some of these names. Look at Microsoft up now at $1. We just went right to that level again that we should have got out at $300.50. But we'll see if that's all that it has in it. I don't know. We'll see what Apple wants to do here moving forward. Microsoft moving forward as the NASDAQ trying to get going. We are a little ways away now from the imbalances. So right now on our time is 333. 49, 50, 51. So 333, 54, 55 is the time that we're dealing with right now. So that's just to give you an idea if you are late or whatnot on our feed. So, okay, that's about that. I did want to touch, I'd like to get into some more trades, so let's have a look to see if we can find some more. Fisker, not really doing much here. We got in, we got out. Since then, it's just been dancing around. You guys know where the target out is on this one in case it does tank city back in. We probably should have got out of that Microsoft where we were. We'll have to address that after. What about DraftKings? That's a name that we looked at yesterday, and we didn't trade much of it today. We liked the long yesterday off that Morgan upgrade, but that doesn't seem to be mattering today as it's down. Look at this, like no relief at all here. But we are trying to, wow, just a short, like this has just been an amazing ride, breaking down through $20 today on DraftKings, just nonstop selling pressure. But again, like 1921 here. Good year, but we'll see what happens with this dip down. That bottom is 17. Obviously, that happened intraday. What is that wick down there? 1870. Okay, the worst close we've had on this was about 1904, it looks like here on DraftKings as far as the closing price goes. So we're getting pretty close to there. Again, I don't know. Do we want to take a shot here going long? As you can see, the NASDAQ's taking out VWAP right now. Wow. I think we could find some better trades than this.
We just got a super chat that, like, Sun Hands, thank you, by the way, for the super chat. But do we think Ride hits $2? And the first thing, honestly, I haven't had this on my quote board for a while, so apologies for me. I don't really look at Lordstown. There's so many of these names. It's just on a daily basis, you have to pick what you trade. I just didn't realize, I knew it was beaten up. I knew it was, but
I would have guessed like $8 it was.
Yeah, like I thought it was over $5, man.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I looked at it. But if you're talking about can a name retest, like anything that's in this bucket that hasn't retested the recent lows, like my answer is going to be, do I think it can? Yes, I think it can. It's gotten down 9%, and by the way, it's barcoding and not trading right now, so this is more in a general sense. Like, I don't think, it doesn't feel like it has any juice to get through this today because it's just, like, this is what it looks like right now. Like, it's doing absolutely nothing, but anything that falls into this bucket that is not retraced a low that we put in the last week, I think has a very decent chance to. And I know it's like, oh, it's beaten up so far, but it can absolutely happen. That's the way I feel about these names until it's not. Like, until we get some trend reversals, some of these things are just shorts until they're not. The trend is what it is. Speaking of which, and this is not, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I 100% wish I had gotten the long on Teradyne off of 100. Like, I didn't get that consolidation. But when we come all the way back to the 940 pop, and you get a bit of a consolidation, retest a couple of times, I'm going to be in a short trade like this almost every single time. So, like I just said, I was looking for this just a couple of minutes ago. I got in right basically at 110 half. I should be trying to scalp some of this out because I am technically, in some ways, going counter trend here, right? Like, I actually was trying to pick bottoms on the market. We've just had a 10% rally in the name, but I think some profit taking should be coming into Teradyne. That's why we just explained I like going into the short. And on the other side of the coin, the other position I have Lucid, I got the first leg and now it's back to flat, like barcoding here. Not really barcoding, but just basing out here at flat. And the next leg I'll try to get out at 29 in a quarter or so. So long one, short the other. The market can't seem to decide. The SPY is doing okay. It's that it's that NASDAQ, which is just flipping back and forth at 14,000. Really is just tech that can't decide where to go. I mean, the SPY are trying to go up.
We could check out AMD. I mean, AMD, the cracking of a Hyundai. It's there. It's getting close, man. So it's yeah, it'll be close. We'll see what happens here. Oh, so you're on the bid.
I'll get
so
the
you'll
fill,
get the fill first. Okay, so we'll get notified when Neil gets long down here, which I don't mind getting on the bid either. But 102 right now, looking like a spot here for AMD. So let's watch out as it's still going to the downside and still making new lows as we speak here. This is a 1 minute chart. Like, AMD can't even get out of its own way. We were lucky enough to do that earlier. Are we negative on? Yeah, we're negative on AMD today. So a couple tries, and then dumped it off to the downside, and it's still starting to make moves downside. So AMD, yeah, not a great name here today for sure. As you're down 8%, we could check back with Intel as well to see what that's doing today. But so they're both down to 7-8% as well off earnings. We're gonna have to wait. We haven't had AMD earnings yet, right? Or Nvidia, so that's gonna be coming soon. Apple's the big dog tonight. We'll see where that goes. We'll talk about that tomorrow, as I'm hoping. I'm not hoping it goes down. Look, I mean, I love Apple, but at the same time, I think that it's not a horrible spot, like we just said, to get something out and then worrying about what it does after that, right? So, yeah, we're really excited to see earnings today. But look at the NASDAQ, just continues to take out lows here. NVIDIA looking to take out that low, 217, wow. Like the last shares I bought of NVIDIA was 279. So you're going to hear honesty about my trades, like we're always going to be honest. We put our trades on the board here for you as well, and that's been an absolute disaster long there. So you guys do what you say, whatever you want to do, but it's been a bad ride for NVIDIA. I mean, my dollar cost average is still below the current price, so there's absolutely no problem with that. Yes, this is what, I mean, why put this glove here? I don't know what that means, but we do have a glove there now, Randy. So
okay, Randy.
So much for that one.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, a little weird.
So, I mean, like, by the way, for that AMD, for me, there's a time limit as to, when I would take this trade. Probably up to close to 350. Like, we have to be flat at the end of the day. We said it a million times, but if you're just joining in, we're day trading. So we'll have no positions come 4 o'clock. So I am sitting in front of 100 in case there is like snap down and a bit of a bounce off that psychological level on AMD. But I will be canceling that order and saying I'm not going to take it if we get a little bit too close to 4 o'clock. We're only 10 minutes away from the imbalances, so I thought I'd just mention that. Speaking of said Apple, if you're looking at key levels, 158 has been one for a little bit.
Like, Apple's not going down
Apple.
Now.
It's not like it's been a holding around here before. I know it's tipped below 158 a few times, and yesterday we got down like 157.5, but it's basically right on that precipice. It's right on the verge of support, and that's one of the reasons why I'm just like, it's just like the slightest disappointment. If it closes on this support level, and then there's just any reason for the bid to drop on the earnings print, you might actually get one of those flushes, and we've seen what they can do, certainly. But I've got my 2 trades on here, and you're not going to be able, unfortunately, you won't be able to see Apple until much later on after 4 o'clock. It'd be cool if it was 4:05, but that's just not how they roll when they report earnings.
No, they don't, yep. So Apple will be a little bit later today. We'll have to wait to see what they do in about I don't want to say an hour. I think it's 4:30 every time. I think Apple's pretty consistent in what they do. Just another look here on NEO. Wow, guys, like getting flushed down the toilet is a lot of, wow, okay. I mean, I just keep looking back at Microsoft as ripping right now through. So nice little trade there for Softy. Hopefully we can see if that one wants to work out. I'm happy if it does for Softy. But NEO right now off 21. That could be a good little bounce back. Here we go, Softy. Let's go, man. Money, money, money. We're back in the money on this name. Another $1.50 for us on NEO. On Microsoft. Let's see where we can go on this one. I'm pretty happy with you, Microsoft, but let's see what we can take out here. Let's see if we do get this rally into the close. We are now $2. $2, yes, sir. Let's go. $2 now in the money as, the NASDAQ, hold my beer for a second here, as the NASDAQ starting to go back up to the upside right now, taking out those lows, man, and just cracking through 14,000. So let's see if that does something. You see the NASDAQ now getting excited, and your boy's excited as well, because right now it's Flaw Central. The market's starting to go back up. We have a $2.50 winner on board right now. So let's go, market. Let's go, everybody. Hopefully you're long with us on this move. If not, hey, maybe this is a good sell spot because the market is rally city right now. I hope you guys are enjoying this ride. $3 is the target here for Microsoft to get in the money here. 302, maybe we get back up to VWAP. How about a 302.50 level for Microsoft? Let's see if we can get that.
Yeah, and guess what reclaimed 840 on that spike? So we got back above 14,000 on the ES there. And as that was happening, Tesla, which is held 830 double bottom, retook that big 840 level. So that's going to be an easy reversal for me. I still haven't gotten second target on Lucid. That should be coming on the north side of 29, but I've been sort of waiting for the spot. Like, can we get back above that level and see if we get a bit of a relief rally? Was that Brendan?
Pyrogenesis Canada, which is a Canadian company, obviously, also listed on the NASDAQ here, just going crazy right now. A lot of volume coming into this one. PYR, guys.
All right, Fisker. All right, Fisker. I see you. I see you. We should have reloaded it, but obviously we were pretty nervous down there at that position. Let's see if we get a 20 fill on that one. $3 now. Yes, sir. Let's go. It's a chicken dinner winner today for you. So, hey, man, what a great trade for Softy. Really happy with that one, man. We stick with the best names, and there it is. Softy's been a dream for me the last couple days trading. So I hope that you guys are having similar luck on this name as well. There it is as we start to get out. Ooh, we did not get that fill on Fisker. Maybe this is good enough here for Microsoft. We've already bought right back into this area that we've been at before. I'm going to say if maybe we get a little bit of a rally here. Obviously, it's probably starting to go back up, and I just wonder if this is a little bit of a rally. Yeah, there it goes. Apple straight up $1. So I'm wondering if this is a rally into Apple. So we'll wait to see what happens now for that. But a nice, beautiful move back upside. And yes, sir, this is a good day today. We're loving life right here as we continue to go back up. We just need to get that Fisker fill at 20. Maybe we'll just take some out right now.
I'm going to preemptively cancel that. There's no way AMD now is going to get down to that 100 level, so I'm already going to be canceling it. I have thrown an offer out just to see if I can get scooped up. If there's any kind of a bounce in a firm, I still want to short it off that $50 level. I think still playing inside the ranges is going to work, and I still think scalping is going to be the idea. So while I'm back to the long train in Tesla, I did make sure that I banked some. The initial move got to about it got to like 843, 844 or so. On the reclaim, I got 840.5. Now, if it wants to try and make another higher low or anywhere off of that 830 level, as long as we're holding 14 on the on the NASDAQ, I should say, then I want to be reloading and see if we can rally into the close. Like, I'm not saying we get into VWAP, but VWAP is like $40 away. There's a heck of a lot of room to run to the upside. And when that move happened up, I just covered Teradyne because if we're going to catch a bounce and rally into the close, then I want to make sure I'm picking what I originally wanted to do, which is go long off those bottoms. Brendan?
That PYR guys passed a test for their plasma torches for an iron ore producer. So looks like they might get a contract out of that deal as well. That was that PYR going crazy.
Good little name there, PYR. But right now, we'll just be like, yeah, we smoking one right now because look at this, man. $3 now in the money for Softy. So, I mean, just be patient. Wait for this. We didn't see any levels this morning. We wait for that 298. That is about as gold as you can get. And there it goes right up to the upside. Debating taking this out at 301.25 right now. It's been a monster move to the upside here, and we need to celebrate that. Did we get that Fisker? Yes, we did. So there it is again, man. And again, thank you for all the love there as the cash register is now open and it's just being robbed. And, I don't feel bad about it, but hey, if the stock market police are around, cuff me, whatever, man. Give me that cash. You're going to keep giving us some of these levels, man. We're going to take them. And there goes Softy now, $3.50. It's a jailbreak right now in the market as we're going upside. So let's go, man. The market is turning green, maybe for the close. We'll see if that does happen. I don't know. This fruit salad, yeah, see? It's not fruit salad. I thought we fixed that, but we did not. Fruit salad not fixed right now, so we won't do that one. But hey, man, that was a good idea trading today. Hopefully you had the same trades we do. $4 now as Microsoft running upside, guys. A good day.
Yeah, and we just broke 29s on Lucid, so we are getting off the bottom. Tesla now up at 843, so the 840 break continuing to run here. It looks like, I mean, we're now at 14.1 on the NASDAQ, so start thinking about your targets. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, also keep in mind, 3 minutes away from the imbalances. So if you haven't taken profits on some of these longs, I think it makes a little bit of sense to do so in front of that 350 mark. The last thing you want is for sell imbalances to come in. I've already scalped some out off these bottoms, both in Tesla and both in Lucid, so I think we're okay there. But 350, things can change in an absolute hurry. We've seen it before. I'm going to go ahead now and cancel. I got to cancel the offer on the pop in Affirm, as I just reminded myself of those imbalances. If there is a spike, I'd rather react to it manually as opposed to have an order that just gets swept up. That's just the way I prefer to trade around 350.
Yeah, and so we're going to try to do the same thing here. One little bump up here on Microsoft, and we'll just get out of that one now as we just touched. Basically, we touched VWAP. I mean, we didn't, but I mean, that 302.20 is good enough, man. Like, I'm not going to wait for 302.80. It's not even that far away. So we'll see right now. You can see the futures are coming back in as we are only now 2 minutes away from the imbalances. So we'll see what happens right now. Crash City now? I don't know. I don't know about Crash City. We'll see. What is Apple doing right now? Was just at 159.50 or so? Yeah, so same price, 159.50. A nice move up for Apple. And again, I feel like maybe they are going to come with some hot fire because you're not really getting hit that much. You're at a nice level here for Apple. So let's see what we wind up doing with that trade. We got out of some more Fisker on the way up. That was a good one with only 2 minutes to go. It should also be an exciting finish. So we're really, really happy with the way things are going. Let's check out Tesla right now. Did you just turn green there, Brad? Nice job, Bradley. He turned green, and everybody that was like, turn your frown upside down on the show, he just did that. So beautiful trading there for you, Brad. Assume it was Tesla? Futures. He takes a futures trade. Nice trade there, buddy. To the long side there for Brad. So good job there, my man. We're going to be perfect here pretty much in the afternoon. We only took Fisker for you. That's been a monster trade. And we've taken Microsoft for you. So we'll go 2 for 2 for you here in the afternoon. The AMC trade was earlier on. I mean, look at these shorts on AMC, guys. 16, 15.50. You're down to 14.50 right now on AMC, and that's just being killed. But we had some nice longs there afterwards, but they still didn't work. One of them did, the other one didn't. So we'll have to wait on that one. But right now, only a minute now until the imbalances come through.
Yeah, and because that's the case, I mean, I had to get out of Tesla. We got the first scalp on it, and then same thing with Lucid. I still have a little bit of Lucid. We took 29 even, but coming into 350, I did not want to be in those positions when 350 hit. So I've trimmed Lucid to basically nothing left on it, and then we'll see what happens. I mean, I think there's going to be a decent chance. We can always be disappointed by it, but there's a decent chance you might see some imbalances, especially in some of the chip names, which have had huge moves here today. I know EVs have been the talk of the day, but the chip names have been absolutely beaten up, whether it's Lam, whether it's Intel, whether it's AMD, which could still be close enough to that 100 to warrant some concern. Like, it's still at 102, but you know, just taking a flat trade-off size at 100, I probably wouldn't do. But if a sell imbalance got you a spike down to 100, I might still try to take a trade of that nature.
All right, here we go. With only 2 seconds to go, we're going to see what's going to be hitting off here. Oh, man, we still have that ARCA. I thought I got rid of that ARCA, but we didn't. CCL with a nice little buy imbalance right here. Visa with a buy imbalance. This is probably rallying the Dow up to the upside. Let's check out Visa, what that's doing. Actually, not doing much else. XOM with a buy. JP Morgan with a buy. I don't see any NASDAQs of significance on here. So not much happening. For those of you that are holding CCL, it is a buy of 1.5 million shares, but you can see not really reacting. So not much happening here on the imbalance locator. Sorry about that, but nothing on there today. And I'm going to edit this out so I don't have to look at ARCA.
Yeah, and finally, like when that came out, by the way, like even though there wasn't a heck of a lot to see, like the NASDAQ ticked back down, so rejected that 14.1 again. That meant I was getting out. I was looking at to see if there would be a snap on AMD there, but I did just take the profit that was left on Lucid because I did not want to be holding it. If that first move was down, I'll just bet that maybe we're going to do that thing that we do going into the close. And like I said before, 350, it was the same thing on Tesla, right? Like it gave you that spike, but you can't. I'm just not going to fight it. Like every single time, we're going to take that scalp trade, and you get a little more granular or a little bit tighter on some of these scalp trades. You just get in and out at the same price. Take that first spike to the upside when you can get it, and it does work, but you have to be pretty quick on the keys. And I know not everybody has direct market access. Checking back in, we said we'd look at some of the chip names, so there wasn't an imbalance on Intel. It was looking like there might be. I thought that there might be. It did not move whatsoever going into the close, so a bit disappointing. In terms of, I guess, activity on those imbalances, like you said, there was something on CCL, but
yeah,
really, it didn't move the needle at all. And it doesn't, just because there's a big imbalance, it doesn't necessarily mean that the stock has to go up or down. Because its likelihood is it's going to get paired off there, and sometimes it does absolutely nothing. CCL, by the way, down 5%. I didn't realize that was getting beat up as much as it was.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of names getting taken out a little bit here. We are waiting, though, to get filled, and I don't know if it's going to happen here. We are waiting to get filled on Microsoft to the upside. It doesn't look like that's coming through anytime soon, so watch out for that one, and it's going to crack even lower. I mean, I put an offer out, $300.90, so maybe we get that, maybe we don't, but that's what we're sort of looking for right now on Microsoft. We were just talking about it. We wanted to hold a little bit. We're already out. We are holding a quarter of it, so yeah. Sucks because we had a much better price than this, much better out. But here it goes. Maybe we do get that here. Remember, the imbalances do reverse again at 355.
55,
so yeah,
58.
58. So we do have two more reversals coming. So there is a chance here that this does get a little bit spicier here to the upside.
So Dakota Wade, you put in like a CSLT as an example of something not moving the imbalance. This is a particularly different one. CSLT is being bought for cash. This is a cash buyout that is literally not moving. And I'm only saying this because this is what it looks like today. That is 204. That is 203. I made one trade today. I shorted at 204. I got out at 203. I do that on the side, by the way. But this is also what level 2 looks like. This thing is not moving. I'm going to come in tomorrow, and I'm going to be bidding 03, and I'm going to be offering 04 like I do basically every day on this stock. But it's got 2 million shares on the bid. So it doesn't matter what the imbalance is showing on this thing, unless it's like 5-10 million to sell or something like that. But yeah, so like just if you don't have a level 2, like that's what that's going to look like. And oh goodness, Tesla, 830 coming again. It might actually break the low again. So yeah, it's just going to be one of those days. I tried multiple times to the long side on Tesla, but you have to have those stops in. And here comes 830, the low being put in again here.
This is a disaster for Tesla today. We just got some out at 822. We'll see if we get another fill there. Who knows if we will or not for Fisker, but it's been a good one for that. So we'll go mamma mia, and thank you guys so much for joining. If you haven't hit the like, please do that. We wouldn't mind if you hit the subscribe as well. So do that, and like my kids say, smash the like at the bottom there. Destroy the like as much as you can, and hit the subscribe button, please. And thank you. That would be nice. I don't know. Look, we've held Microsoft, and it really sucks because now it's coming back down. It doesn't suck at all. Microsoft's a good name today, but at the same time, we would have liked to have held for a little bit more. Unfortunately, the futures, we do need a little bit of a reversal. I'm still waiting there. I still think it can pop up upside here. So we'll see what happens in the next little 5 minutes left. 5 minutes is an eternity in this market, guys. So I don't have any targets here to get out of this one or not. There's Fisker. Fisker takes out 22. And there it is again, man. A nice one. Good idea on that one going long. And we just thought about that because, again, it was at the $10 level. So here's Fisker long and just a whole bunch of outs. I know it looks kind of messy. Maybe if I do that, it looks a bit better. But there's the bid and there's a bunch of outs. So Fisker will win for us here today. What's up, Brendo?
Just watch crypto markets here. I just saw a headline, and I'll just read this, guys. Take it for what it's worth. The Biden administration is reportedly preparing to release an executive action to regulate Bitcoin as a matter of national security.
So that's bad for
Bitcoin. Watch crypto markets here while I have you. Here are earnings. Yeah, it's a busy day. There's more than just Apple tonight, guys.
Well, I mean, Apple, Robinhood, a little bit of Robinhood.
What, there's a company called Apple? That's funny, yeah. Why would someone name a company Apple? Okay, oh shoot, Microsoft right back to the upside right here. We're sitting right here right now. Let's just hit off or enter and see if we can get this. Oh no, don't. I should just marketed it out. Fill us, Microsoft. Oh no, it's not filling me. Let's hit off or, did I just get filled? No, I did not. Let's hit off or enter again. No, it's not filling us. And bang, there it is to end the day on that trade. We get that one and we do the bang Bruno right there. Boom, strike. Rob, get me a Bruno. A thing for tomorrow or something when you have time. Obviously, don't do it tonight. Pardon? Bruce Allen?
Said fruit salad.
Oh, fruit salad.
Yeah, it sounded
Bruce
weird.
Allen. There it is. It's fruit salad time. So there, thank you, Rob. Yeah, we do like that.
Bruce Allen.
Good setup there. I thought he said Bruce Allen. I was like, Bruce Allen. But there's the fruit salad trade. I have no idea, man. I have no idea what I'm doing. But there we go. Thank you for that one. It's a green day for us.
We just got to 35. Yeah, that's just a shock. A little bit of a. My chart on Binance is killing me, but Mara just actually touched lows of the day.
Yeah. So the story is that Joe Biden. I mean, I don't want to make this anything political, but like I'm surprised that maybe he knows what Bitcoin is. But Joe Biden comes out and says that he thinks that they're going to nationalize as a security measure, national security. They were going to try to regulate Bitcoin. So I don't know what that means exactly, but I know Gary Gensler. They're looking at different ways of taxation. Investing laws and things like that as far as Bitcoin. So I have no idea what's going to happen there. But what I meant by that Joe Biden thing is that I never heard him really talk about cryptocurrencies at all before. So I mean, without knowing the story, I'm sure it's not Joe Biden's thesis here, but I don't know.
Oh my, yeah, so it's happening. Why did I just, whatever. I just should have stayed short in Tesla. 830 right now. On the bid, it's trying to hold up. There's like 27,000 shares doing yeoman's work on the 8:30 bid with 2.5 minutes to go, trying to get the job done. I don't know if it's going to happen here, but either way, it's been a rough day for Tesla, down 11.5%. And sometimes, like we said, valuations are going to matter. The market is not going to be able to close in positive territory, but hey, we can have fun while we're taking some of the opportunities. There were bounces to be had. Don't get me wrong. There were some bounces to be had, and we're able to get them. I'm still kicking myself over some of the shorts that we probably should have had in the afternoon, but it is what it is. I promise you this much: if we're still bearish, this will not be because the first day that I didn't actually have short Affirm at the beginning of the afternoon show in like a month, and it's like I definitely should have. But it is what it is. 8:30 gone on Tesla.
I mean, I like to say that we can't predict the market tanking, but we can really do that. And we did, look at this Rivian short today. 57.50 short, guys. Our best out, 55. So we took 250 on this, and now it's just trying to push some new lows here on Rivian. We could check out Lucid as well.
Lucid's at 20. So to me, Lucid, with a minute and a half to go,
chart.
Lucid just filled the gap. It's like this is 33 on the daily chart. The gap is all the way to 28.50, and it's sitting at 28.50. It just went clean, filling in the entire gap on Lucid. And you know what? There's other stocks that'll be like this, where you'll be able to see like resistance go kaputs, and then you just got to be able to take advantage of it. And if you're long in front of a level like that, well, guess what? Like sometimes having a stop order is not the worst idea. Stops and trailing stops save people money. In all kinds of ways, whether you're day trading or whether you're long-term trading, that's why they're there. On the other side, you give up some profits when you get stopped out, but you got to be able to manage risk. Ms. V's on the bell. I still don't know why we have this next to us, but
I don't know why. I don't know what the purpose of that is.
I don't get it, Randy. You can explain that one to us later. Why you put a rubber glove on?
We'll do that, but we'll raise the trophy up today. Good day today for trading. Hopefully you guys are green. We'll do the green trophy raise, and that's going to be good. That's not why we do that, but whatever. My kid made that for me for Father's Day, so shout out there. But we only have now 30 seconds to go. Okay. I bought that oil ETF. We're already in the money 1% on that, so that's working out pretty good. We'll check out what Apple's going to do today into the close. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, so it's just doing nothing, 159 flat. So watch out for Apple. Hold on to your pants tonight as that'll come flying through at about 4:30, I believe, anyways. With only 10 seconds left, who is on the bell? It is Ms. V. Me and Ms. V called each other this morning and both decided to wear all black. So great job there, Ms. V. Two and one. There we go. You may notice in the background we are getting a lot of construction done here this weekend. No, it's happening.
What?
So yeah, it's back on. So
it's back on?
It's back on.
Okay.
So the construction is happening this weekend. It's back on. That's why we're covering up those computers. It's not, yeah, because it kind of, if you don't really know what you're looking at, I wonder what you think that it kind of looks like cobwebs or something in the back. What feels like cobwebs because it's been forever. There's over there. It is. Yeah. Hey, I see some stations not covered up there, but we'll get that covered.
Dude, if those were webs, I would not be sitting here right now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't. Oh, did Greg keep that, by the way, or is he still denying that story ever happened there, Greg? What's up, Tony? How you doing, Tony? There he is. What's up? Working hard, Tony there. So, all right. Thank you again to everybody here today. It's been another bang-up show. I hope you enjoyed it. I think we had record viewers one more time. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Thank you to Rob so much for all the animations and for the fruit salad there. Thank you to Lucas, who's right there. Thank you to Maggie, who I don't see. I want to thank Justin for coming through as well today and every day. Absolutely great. I want to thank Daniel Shea today. Who else do we have? I want to thank Raheem Alani from OCI Group today as well. I want to thank Randy and Mark for all the work they're doing in the back as well. Although Randy had a lot of cameos today.
He's a busy man.
Yeah, he's a very busy man. Giving us these
Busy, brother.
hands. Are you in tomorrow, Randy? Okay, have a great weekend.
That's why this got done today.
And we will see you on Monday, hopefully, or whenever you're in next. A big shout out to Trader Pratt, who got positive. Everyone was like, oh, he's being a Debbie Downer. But it's all about waiting for opportunity, right? When opportunity is there, you strike, and you strike pretty hard. A big thank you to Ms. V, of course. Every single day. And Brendan still can't keep his eyes off the headlines. And we're going to thank him for that as well.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Okay, what was that, Sir Neil?
Robin Hood's got to be out, right?
Yeah, Robin Hood's out on a bad... Anything, Brendan?
I mean, it's positive so far. I'll have to look through it.
Okay, so...
There we go. Now we're negative. I was waiting for that, but now it's negative. There we go. Back to the downside.
All right, so there's Robin. I mean, if you thought Robin Hood was going to beat, then...
No.
You know, that might have been a graphic for you right there. But anyways, I'm just playing around. I have no idea. Thank you to everybody for coming through today. Please don't talk about Bruno, but please join us tomorrow at 8:30, and we'll be trading some more hot fire. For Neil, I'm Sean, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Ciao.
See ya. Bye, Robin Hood. Bye-bye.